All right, guys, welcome back to Check the Pulse podcast. It's been a while, on and offs, but we're coming back hard this year, 2025. It's a good number. It's a good year. And I'm grateful and honored to number one, be in the new MBH Neighborhood Creative headquarters. And I'm with the one and only Anthony Sorella, who, fun fact, I grew up going out and he would be out with like Ernesto and stuff. And like full circle moment, never knew I'd be in the same room as him or that he would know my name. And yeah, we're here. So we're going to crack right into it. Anthony, welcome to the pod.
Wow. What an intro. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a pleasure. I'm grateful for you to come through and shoot in the new studio.
Of course.
Excited to have you.
Absolutely amazing. If you're in the Toronto area, pull up. If you're not, fly in and pull up. Do what you got to do.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so for those that don't know you, introduce yourself a little bit. Give us a bit about, your journey into entrepreneurship, where you're at now, and then we'll dive into the conversation.
Cool. Yeah, so my name is Anthony Sorella. I'm the co-founder of a few companies now. Neighborhood Creative, which is the building that we're currently in. That's my marketing agency. April will be 6 years that we've been in business and been growing. So super excited about that. I'm also co-founder of the podcast, Money Buys Happiness, the MBH podcast. We're in year 3 there. I think around 200 episodes, a little bit more or so. And also the co-founder of MBH TV, which is stepping into year 2 of business now, which is our network. So for anybody kind of wondering like, oh, what does that mean? Imagine like Barstool Sports, something very similar where we are acquiring IP, we're building new shows, bringing talent onto the network. We're sort of trying to build our own Barstool Valuetainment where we own a bunch of different shows with a bunch of different demographics, so on and so forth. So high level, that's like really my 3 main focuses. I have a few other businesses. The Wealth Club is my paid community on the side, and a few other things, but those are my main 3. And yeah, serial entrepreneur. I mean, like I'm talking like elementary school. I used to sell like Beyblades. I would go to like the grocery store. That's a throwback, eh? I used to go to the store and like buy them from the dollar store for like $1, sell them for $5. Like, so it's always been in my blood. I don't know what it was. My family was average. We were just sort of, I'd say what the middle class was back in the day. So money wasn't necessarily an issue, but I don't know. It was just always something in my family that we spoke about a lot. I would hear my parents talk about a lot. And so I think that sort of instilled in me a little bit of like this want and need to feel like I should go out and make money, even at, like 5, 6, 7, 8 in elementary school. From there, that turned into, I head into high school. I kept my entrepreneurial spirit alive in high school. And I started selling weed. Like I was a bad kid. It's funny. Like I was just always the kid where I would say, okay, like I was resourceful. So I'd look around and I'd see like, okay, I'm in high school.
Right.
Everyone's smoking weed.
Right.
Okay, cool. So am I, but whatever, everyone's smoking weed. And so I'm like, well, where are they getting it from?
Right.
Okay, cool. Oh, they're getting it from this guy. Wait a minute. Maybe I can supply it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wasn't like trying to be a criminal in any way, but I was just like, oh, this is what everyone is buying right now. How do I become the supplier of what they're buying? That turned into the weed, I made a lot of money. I saved a lot of money up. It was funny. Quick story. My mom, one day she finds $10,000 in like one of my sock drawers.
Holy shit. Straight cash. and like fives, by the way. So this wad is like the size of my head. And I'll out my mom on this one, and I promise she's the best mom ever. She saw it and she had a feeling of like what I was doing. Yeah.
And she pulled me aside like at home and she's like, listen, do whatever you want. You're gonna make mistakes in life, and if this is one of them, let it be one of them. Yeah. Whatever. You want to keep selling weed, whatever, do your thing. You can. However, if you get arrested, don't call me. And that was like, so I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So my mom was the best. She was always like, you're going to like figure your life out on your own. I'll be here to guide you and help you where I can, but like, you also need to make your own mistakes.
For sure, yeah.
So anyways, that was a big lesson, a little side story. And anyways, I go from weed to save all this money, 10,000, whatever. And then closer to the end of high school, grade 12, all my friends now are going to like raves and festivals, Digital Dreams and Veld. If you're from Toronto, you know that. And so was like, okay, that's interesting. How do I put myself in a position to like be the guy they buy the tickets from?
Right.
Cool. So I go out and I, through some connections that I had, I get connected to somebody from Inc. Entertainment who at the time owned those festivals.
Right.
And I was like, hey man, like whatever, young kid. I think I was maybe 17 or 18 at this time now. And I'm like, hey man, you know, whatever, like I want to buy bulk tickets for this event and I want to sell it to my friends, whatever. And he looks at me and like, he's like, who the fuck is this kid? You know what I mean? Like little kid, I have these little like pube chin hairs, you know what I mean? I'm a little scrawny kid. They're like, yeah, whatever. So I think it's funny. I think about it, thinking about it now and looking back, I think he was like, okay, I'm just going to give this kid like an objective that's so impossible that he won't be able to do it.
Right.
And so he'll fuck off. Like he'll leave me alone. And so he goes, hey, if you want to buy tickets, the minimum to buy bulk and get a discounted price for them is $100,000 worth. And me being the absolute like lunatic, like delusional, I was like, I'll be back in a few weeks with $100,000. He's like, yeah, okay, for sure, bro, for sure. So a few weeks go by, or leading into those few weeks, I'm like, where the fuck am I gonna get this money? Blah, 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 whatever. I had like 20,000 saved up from like my weed selling and everything else I was doing.
Yeah.
And like I was flipping shit on Kijiji, whatever. And I had this one really rich friend from high school, and I would go to his house all the time and we'd smoke weed. And his dad would come into like the garage and he'd smoke weed with us and we'd laugh, whatever. And his dad was like super successful. And so I'm like, in my head, I'm like, maybe I can like pitch him to like give me the money on loan and I'd give him interest back. Like, I don't even know where I'm coming up with this shit. Like Dragon's Den, I would always watch that show. I think that's where I got the idea. Yeah. And long story short, he comes in one day and I say, hey, so-and-so, I don't want to out his name. So-and-so, you know, this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. Like, I need $80,000 and I will have it back to you within 60 days and I'll give you 10% on your money. So you give me 80, I'm going to give you 88 back. Yeah. And he goes, come to me with like a proper plan and I'll consider it. So I come back the next night with my version of a proper plan at that time, which is like literally 3 pieces of paper that I just wrote everything down on. And I kind of stood in front of him and I told him the whole like breakdown a little bit more in detail. Yeah. And to my surprise, he's like, come back next Wednesday. I'll have the 80,000 cash for you. No collateral.
Wow.
So I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
Okay, that's interesting. So I show up the next Wednesday. I bring my 20,000 cash, which like I never, like it was in my bank account. Some of it was cash, some of my bank account. So I was like, whoa, seeing this all in cash at that age, I'd never seen that before.
You're also young, so you're like, fuck.
I was like, bro, even me just having that money, I'm like, whoa. And then I'll never forget, I go into his kitchen. He has this massive island. Yeah. And he like comes down the stairs and is like fucking like, I don't even know, was it like really just short shorts or like his boxers? I don't know, whatever. And he just slams like $80,000 down on the thing. And I put my 20 next to it. And I'm looking at I think I was 18. I'm looking at $100,000 cash in front of me. I'd never seen that before. Yeah, of course. And I was like, holy fuck, this is insane. Long story short, take the money, bring it to the guy from Inc. Yeah. He couldn't believe I had $100,000 cash.
This guy's shocked.
Like he was like, dude, who the fuck is this kid? Yeah. So I earned some respect in doing that. Sure. Gave him the money. It was about 600 tickets, sold them, and made like 50,000 profit. Wow. I was coming home with like bags of money and my parents were like, what the fuck? I'm like, no, listen, this is legit now. Now we're legit. Anyways, long story short, to speed this up, all these little things led me into my entrepreneurial journey and where I'm at now. In between that, that business failed because there was some cancellations with the festivals. Right. And I kind of had a choice, like fuck everybody and like keep the money I made from selling the tickets, or like make sure I keep my name solid and no one can ever be like, oh, Anthony Sorella is a scammer. Right. And I refunded everybody and I lost everything. Wow. So then it was a weird period of time. I went to go work at TD, like I was telling you, off camera. And I learned a lot there, and that was a good experience. Worked there for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. And the final jump, that was my final job before like really jumping into entrepreneurship. And I just had a moment there where I was crushing it. I was number 2 out of 5,000 salespeople in my region. Wow. I was crushing. And so I applied for like a job within my branch to move up from like a teller to like a financial advisor. Yeah. At this point, I'm 19, I think. So, you know, I had a baby face, whatever. And long story short, I didn't get the position. They gave it to somebody outside the branch. And that like broke me because I was like, wow, I've done so much for this fucking branch. Like I put us on, like we are top 2, top 3 branches in the region because of my sales. And like, you're going to go and give this like level up position to somebody else and like not me.
That's disrespect.
That's when I
Wow.
learned, like really learned the lesson of like,
Yeah.
if you don't work for yourself, you don't have control.
Yep.
There's always somebody above you who can make a decision that affects your life in a serious way. You know, that was gonna take me from a different pay grade. Like it was gonna change my life a little bit, you know? And it was up to some stupid bitch who was using me for fucking, sorry, that's so vulgar, but I that's how much, that's how much hatred I have for her.
Yeah,
No,
but like to cut you off quickly though, if you've worked at TD, you know how big of a deal that is. Because I went through the same thing and I had to leave branch.
Yeah.
So continue.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I'll say stupid bitch because in the moment, like I just like channeled my inner 19-year-old there.
You just got hurt. Your inner
I was
child
hurt.
just got hurt. Yeah,
I was hurt. I was
sure.
like, what the fuck? Like,
Sure.
and the thing is, it was funny because it was like, as I was crushing sales, she was coming to me and being like, "You're a superstar," like whatever. And then to like interview me and not give me the position was insane. So, anyways, I say stupid bitch, but at the same time, thank you so much because that was like actually the biggest lesson. And I literally from that point gave like 2 weeks. I was like, I'm done. Wow. And they're like, wait. Huh?
Everyone's crumbling.
They're like, wait, what? Yeah. What? Like our top sales guy, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gone. I'm going to do my own thing. And I'm still living at home at this time. And so I told my mom, I literally come home from work and she's like, hey, what's up? How was your day, honey? I was like, yeah, I just quit. She's like, what? You know? And I'm like, yeah, I quit. I'm done. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, listen, didn't get the position. Like, I don't want to work for anybody. I want my own hours. I want to be able to decide how much money I make, blah, 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 whatever. I'm ready to put the work in. And so she's like, okay, you have 2 years. 2 years, if you don't do anything, you have to go back to work wherever you go. Done deal. Within a year, I was already like, I was moving, right? So it was a big lesson. That led me into nightlife where we met and then moving into like neighborhood. They were kind of almost simultaneous. I did nightlife without neighborhood for a couple of years and then kind of COVID happened and I was like, I need out of this life. Like this sucks. And then COVID was like the perfect reason to get out because me and Ernesto were making a lot of money doing nightlife. At that time, it was a lot of money to us. So it's hard to step away from a paycheck that you're making from literally going out 2-3 times a week, like partying. And you're getting this fat paycheck. It's hard to leave.
Right.
So, but it was taking a toll on like just my health. And I was like, I'm doing too many bad things, too many late nights. Like, fuck this. And so that was like a big driving factor to start neighborhood. And then we were doing them simultaneously. And then because we were using the promoting money to pay for like neighborhood, like pay our employees up because we weren't making money at the beginning. And, but eventually, COVID came around and that was like, all right, the world's ending. So like we may as well fuck this and go all in. Yeah. Right. And so long story short, that is sort of the journey into my entrepreneurial, where I'm at now with my entrepreneurship.
All right. Well, super cool. That's really jam-packed.
Yeah.
First of all, backtrack. Shout out to your mom.
Yeah.
Because she did something that majority, I can confidently say like 90% of parents wouldn't do.
For sure.
And probably if she reacted the opposite to you and absolutely lost it, like most parents would have, that would have triggered you in 2 ways. You either would have just said, okay, I won't do it anymore. And it would have kind of killed your entrepreneurial side. Or you would have been like, all right, well, fuck you even more. Like I'm going to go do more, right?
Yes.
Whereas like, it's funny, recently, this girl, Mel Robbins, she's like big.
I know Mel Robbins,
right?
Yeah.
So like she just released a book. I've been listening to her stuff. And she put out like on a pod, she was talking about parents and how they try so hard when their children kind of hit high school and adulthood to like make them not fail and like protect them.
Yep.
And she's like, the hardest thing is to let them fail. So watch them. If they're going to fail, let it happen. Guide them, be there for them. But they're also adults and they have to go through their own journey. And that's literally what your mom did.
Yes.
And it's crazy because I heard about it and I grew up opposite. Like my parents would have lost it. And I'm like, so you're talking and I'm like, oh shit, there's people that do that. Like that's sick, right? So shout out to her because I think without maybe realizing it, she played such a pivotal role holding that space for you. No, you knew you can go home and have that.
Yeah.
But some people be like, don't do it. You're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. You know, she's right. If you go to jail, don't call me. But that in you
100%.
is like, okay, so this is what I'm doing. These are my risks. How do I go about this right now?
Yeah.
And that pushed you. Okay, let me get into, entertainment, digital, selling tickets, which was massive then.
Yeah, I agree with you. Huge shout out to my mom. First things first, like my mom is like my best friend.
Yeah.
She's always like anything I ever done, she supported me. Yeah. Even when they weren't the best things.
Yeah. But
that was because she wanted me to make my own decisions in life. And I think that's been a big reason why I've been able to be successful. Being an entrepreneur and leading teams, you need to be the person that makes the tough decisions.
For sure.
So when you're at a young age and your parents let you make a tough decision, that's only setting you up for the future. As you get older, your decisions are only going to become harder and harder.
Yeah.
So if you're making tough decisions at 15, 16, 17, 18, the tough decisions you get at 35, 40, 45, 50 will be easier.
For sure.
Right? Because you've sort of trained yourself to say, these are my risks. These are the rewards that can come out of it. It can go this way, blah, blah, blah. And you can dissect the situation and make whatever you feel is the best decision. So my mom, I don't know where the fuck she learned that from, but like my mom is the best when it comes to that stuff. And she's been like that like since day one. So yeah, shout out my mom. She's like she is like so wise. Like I gotta bring her on a pod or something.
You got to.
She is like super wise. But yeah, killer.
Yeah, no, unreal. And I think that also, drives you. I know there's a lot of guys that speak about, they want to be successful, retire their parents, retire their moms for like everything they've done. And I think for you, it holds deeper because she has really supported you through everything, even from the start, not just when you had Neighborhood, not just, your podcast where you're like, you're good businessman, right? Like It's from the start where some parents may have not have had that support. So
yeah, it's funny, even like the whole retiring your mom thing. Like my mom actually works for MBH TV.
Oh, that's so sick.
So she just retired recently, and we were like an average family. We weren't poor, but we're definitely not rich. Yeah. And so she gets a pension. She worked for she had worked a government job. Yep. Again, not super high paying. So she just got a pension, and then to help supplement her pay. My parents are separated, so she does her own thing. My dad's, but they're good, they're friends. But so she is self-sufficient. But to supplement whatever she lost and a little bit more, she does like our bookkeeping for MBH TV. So she gets to stay busy, keeps her working, whatever, and she gets paid for it. Yeah. So I haven't gotten to the retire my mom stage yet. Yeah. Like wealth-wise and business-wise, but I said the first thing I can do for you for sure is rather than paying somebody else to do this, this is work that she was doing in her previous job anyways, lighter than her workload, but here. So boom, my mom's on payroll right now.
I love that. That's huge though. That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. That one excites me. That was a big goal for me. Like I said, it hasn't reached the retire her yet, which is definitely in the plans. Although she's retired already. Yeah. But like just literally be like, here's all this money and go do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. But I'm one step there.
You're there. Honestly, even just the fact that you could say that. A lot of people can't say that, right? They haven't built something, or like they're still working for other people. So their odds of retiring their parents are lower because if you're working 9 to 5, it's harder to get that pay grade to be able to sustain you and someone else. Whereas you've now built yourself and she can have that. Like she come work beside you. Like that's sick.
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely an achievement for me for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So that's really awesome. Yeah. And then I guess to move kind of into like the promoting side quickly, because obviously now like there's guys in high school, girls, whatever, they want to promote. It's cool, quick money, have the life, booth, bottles, whatever. What would you say, like, because you were smart enough to kind of realize, hey, you know what, this is hindering me. COVID maybe made you have that realization. But there's also a lot of people that I know that are like still stuck in it from like high school. Yeah. So it's like, if they are looking to get out, or like maybe to them it's hard to let go of the money, like what would you say to them?
Well, first things first, anybody that wants to get into it, I'll encourage getting into it. I don't think it's bad. I think it's rough on your health. However, if you can go into it with an exit plan, that's the best way. So like, because the network I built doing it, for sure. First of all, that was how I met Ernesto. Yeah. My now business partner on all of my projects, right? But the network that him and I built via promoting and nightlife, there's almost no other way to do it. Like to meet that many people in one night and in an environment where everyone's loose, right? There's almost no other way. So I would say if you're thinking about getting into it, first and foremost, do it, but give yourself a timeline to get out. Because then what ends up happening is the money you're making is very good in comparison to the work that you're doing. Like you're not fucking pouring concrete and breaking your back on the construction site. You're having fun, you're drinking, you're doing drugs, you're going crazy. Yeah. So it's like, whoa, I just made $5,000 doing drugs and alcohol and I had fun doing it. Like awesome. Like that you never want to leave, but then you end up becoming the 35-year-old creepy dude in the club, right? So it's like you need your way out. So if you go with the plan to network, but also say, I'm not doing this for more than this many years, and stay true to that. Now, for anybody that feels stuck in it, it's very simple. Get the fuck out. It's literally that. I know that's like, sounds like easier, and it is easier said than done, but like sometimes you need to take steps backwards to move forward, to move past where you were. So losing that, like the nightlife world it's very ego driven.
Right.
So these guys who are in it have been making good money, but now they're 35, the weird 35-year-old guy in the club. Their ego's too big and they don't want to go and work a quote unquote regular job for less money because they were like, because just last week they were that guy. Everyone's like, bro, get me into the club, blah, 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 whatever. But again, soon you'll become the 40-year-old creepy guy and the 45-year-old creepy guy. And then it's like, they're just literally, there's a clock where you can't be the creepy guy there anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And so take it from me, your life gets better when you leave. It's the truth. And anyone that's stuck in it and says, that's not true, there's nothing for me to say. It's very straightforward. You want to do drugs and drink alcohol every weekend, 4 or 5 times a week, you let me know. You let me know how that goes. But I would say get out as fast as possible. Use the network you've built and funnel those people into selling them something else. Forget selling them alcohol and entrance to a club. A lot of people tend to go into the real estate world. They think that that's the easy switch, which, hey, whatever. It's better than being in the club. I'm not going to lie. But try to build a network and reframe your personal brand into being somebody who sells something else. And that whole network you built, I'm sure a few of them will start to support you, right? So that would be my my high level advice for anybody that feels stuck in nightlife, because it could be hard and I get it, but
For sure.
take it from me, move out.
And I think it's nice to also see like guys like you that have very public platforms that you can speak about it. Because sure, there are guys that have exited, maybe they're more low key or no one really knows. So being able to leverage what you've gone through and like share that, I think is huge too, right? Because then people can hear, and what they do with it, it's up to them. At least you can say.
For sure, right? I think it's just it and anybody who's like afraid to tell their story and speak their truth about their experiences, like, bro, it's 2025. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have like Donald Trump going on like the Nelk Boys podcast. Yeah. Bro, like, believe me, it does not matter what you did in the past, as long as you know, you have a rebirth. Yeah. And as people, like, as humans, like, we change. 100%. I feel like there's something, and don't quote me on it, but I don't know, and I don't know who said this, but it's like every 7 years you sort of become a new person. Yeah. And so, you know, who you were 7 years ago is not going to be the same. You may have been doing weird shit that you'd be like, what the fuck was I doing? But you have a rebirth, right? And so like those rebirths can come online. And again, nowadays, especially with business entrepreneurship, is like like you need to show people who you are online. Agreed. You have to, if you want to be an entrepreneur. That's just where we're at right now, right? In 2025. So don't be afraid to just have a rebirth, an online rebirth, bro. Sweep everything clean and start fresh. Yep. 100%. And I think that even falls into reputation, you know? Okay, you come out of promoting, now you're these guys that like, we're promoting at the clubs and I got to trust you with my business and do my marketing. So it's like, okay, how do you gain that respect? And I think part of that is in that rebirth process, understanding like, okay, we got our network, we're going to get new people. How do we show ourselves in a way where it's like, we're not that guy at the club. Yes. Like we are, but we aren't. Like we're also serious. We have like a business mindset. We get your shit done, right? Well, people ask me, like, I was asked this question on another podcast recently where they said like, okay, so you go from the club to now being like the marketing guy, and you're trying to build trust between like, I was this guy, but trust me, now I'm this guy, right? Yeah. And then it was like, okay, so if I want to be the marketing guy, now I got to put out content that makes me look like the marketing guy, right? I'm trying to have that rebirth, that online rebirth. And then they're like, well, what happens if like the 10,000 followers that I had don't like the content that I'm creating now? I said, well, they'll probably unfollow you. Yeah. But I go, that's okay. Because now you are giving your whole audience a refresh. Right. You're sort of like weeding out anybody that's not going to be a future client or align with your new rebrand, your new rebirth. Yeah. It's all good. Let them go. They're in the past now. Yeah. And that's a big thing. People are afraid to let go of the people that came with a certain point of their life, a certain chapter. 100%. This chapter was promoting. This chapter is marketing, entrepreneur, business owner. Not everyone from the promoting chapter of my life is going to be aligned with the marketing promoting chapter. And that's fine. And that's everything from online friends to family members to your good old neighborhood, elementary school friends. You're going to lose some of those people along the way, and people are scared to lose them. But for growth, you have to like trim the fat, And so anyone wanting to, forget even from going from the club to marketing, whatever, anyone trying to make a jump in their life from being this person to being this person, just be ready to trim the fat. Yeah. Be ready to lose people that you thought you would never lose in your life. And I talk to they're gone. They're gone. They're ciao. Exactly. Yeah. They're fucking gone, So that's just that's just something that comes with the territory of becoming a new person.
Yeah. And I think even to align with that, just as an entrepreneur, the moment you become successful, you will realize real fast who actually supports you, who is just around to see you succeed, but like, shit talk you, not actually want you to succeed, and who's a real one. And that circle slowly just like condenses. And like, because then you're like, well, who do I trust? Who actually gives a fuck? Who's just here because like, yeah, they're happy for me. And then they're gonna be like, oh, did you see Anthony? He's doing this now. He's fucking crazy. And it's like, yeah, watch, And I think you and Ernesto have that energy where it's like, you guys don't care like who doubts you, who hates on. It doesn't matter. Family, friends, it doesn't matter. It's just like, all right, you don't think so? Just watch. And like, it happens.
My number one rule for that is people are like, oh, how do you deal with haters? If you don't cut me a check, I don't care what you think. That's number one. That's the first thing.
I like
the
that.
second thing I think of is, do I want to be this person in any way? Do I admire their lifestyle in any way? If the answer is no, I also don't give a fuck about you. And 99.99% of the time, people who are hating on you, they're not cutting you a check, and you wouldn't want to live their life. It's that simple. Like, those are the two things. So if someone's talking shit, I go, not paying me, live a brutal life. Fuck that. Like, what they say does not matter to me. So I would say that's the first side of things when it comes to like dealing with the hates and all that stuff. So yeah, you're not cutting me a check, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like, don't even look at me,
It's like, do your thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it's true. Even like, and then just to jump back to like the progress and people not coming with you, it's also, you have to understand that like, as long as you know why you're doing your next move, like you'll attract the right people anyways. You'll make new friends and people that respect you. And if those people don't want to come with you from the past, they got their own values and own things they stand for. So maybe if it's promoting, maybe they still want to go out. You don't serve that purpose anymore. But if you made, in my opinion, like I believe if you made a proper connection with someone in whatever aspect it is or whatever part of your life you're in, and you were very respectable and honorable, they can't say shit about you and they may need you in the future. So they'll come around maybe when they get to that point. And especially something like marketing, personal brands, even if you have your own business, your parents have a business, your friend has a business, you're around. So it's like, sure, they may not want the content in the moment because they're not there yet. Give them a few years. You don't know where they'll end up, right? Yeah. So it's not always like, some of it's like they're gone. They're not coming back. And some of it's like, whatever, let them do their thing. You're on your own path.
Yeah, they're not on that chapter yet.
100%.
But I want to the friends thing really quickly. I think this is important. I don't think I've ever said this. Like, I have no friends.
Okay.
Like I have no fucking friends.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay. I have my family.
Yeah.
Which is like my immediate family. I have my girlfriend. Yep. I have my business partners. And like, like obviously Ernesto's my friend. Yeah. Anna's my friend. Whatever. But I have like my work situation. And then I have 2 friends that I grew up with like really, really young that like I don't talk maybe like once a month.
Wow.
Maybe. And I'm talking like talk to.
Yeah.
Like text once a month.
Yeah.
I have no friends. I don't have time for friends.
Yeah.
Because there's not many people that are thinking with the mindset that I'm thinking.
Facts.
So going back to your point of like people just not being in the chapter that I'm in, I don't hate on anybody that's not in it, but just like if you're not thinking the way I'm thinking, I can't put energy into that right now.
100%.
If you're coming with the same energy that I'm coming with every day, all good. We can talk all fucking day.
Yeah.
But other than that, I have no friend. Like I don't have friends. I don't have a friend group. I don't have a guys chat where we talk shit anywhere. I don't have guys that I go to the club with. I don't have guys that I go for fucking these dinners with or the boys trips. I have none of that.
Yeah.
People
but it keeps you focused.
People always think I'm fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I have none of that.
Yeah.
I do not have time.
Yeah.
My dreams and ambitions are so large, unfortunately, and people may be like, bro, you need to like chill more. Maybe. If that's your opinion, that's your opinion. Right now, I have no time. My dreams and fucking ambitions are so huge. I have no time for that. Any spare time I have is either for myself, the gym, things like that, or it's for my family, it's for my girlfriend, and it's for my business partners and my team, right? Work. Other than that, I'm a loner, bro. I'm a loser. I got no friends.
But that's funny though, because it's like you came from such a social part of life, and it's now you're just like,
it's weird, eh?
Fuck it, yeah.
It's fucking weird.
It's weird. I feel like it's a transition for you too, right? But because you believe in what you're doing so much from your core, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
People that don't actually, they know why they're doing something. They know what they want to do. They have their goals. They don't have a strong why. So when they don't have a strong why, they're still pleasing, and it's like, oh man, I can't come, but can we go next weekend? And it's like, well, what do you have something better to do? Like drive, reach your goal, right? And that's a hard thing. Like it's a hard thing that
it's tough.
done.
And you nailed it. And I think that's a great way to put it, is like, it's the people pleasing aspect.
Yeah.
So like earlier into starting Neighborhood and everything I was doing, I was still trying to please my friends.
For sure.
So it's like, I knew I had work to do, but I was like, fuck, you know what? I'll go out and then I'll skip the gym tomorrow morning and just do the work. And it's like, well, hold on a second. Why are you doing this? Oh, because you just want to make sure that they know you're still around, you're still their friend. Because you're going out and drinking, but you have to skip the gym, which is actually good for you in the morning to catch up on work, but you're going to be hungo.
Yeah.
So it's this whole thing of like people pleasing. And a lot of people want to please their friends, right? Their family and their friends.
Right.
Even to family. There's been a lot of events that I just can't go to.
Right.
Even till this day. And yeah, sure, maybe this person looks at me weird, or that person or this significant other thinks I'm fucked or thinks I'm an asshole because I'm sitting in my office while everyone's drinking the champagne and woo, happy birthday.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
I do not fucking care. Because with all due respect, I look at that person and I say, you cutting me a check? No. Do I want to live your lifestyle? No. So I don't fucking care. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's so simple. If you start to look at things like that,
Yeah.
you're not going to want to do anything for anybody.
No, I was just going to say, like, even as you're saying, I'm like, yeah, no. Like, you can process, right?
Now, listen, there's obviously exceptions to that, which I believe are your family. Like, my family's the biggest exception to that. Obviously, my mom calls me, my dad calls me, my sister calls me, my grandmother calls me. Obviously, my girlfriend calls me. I'm there. Like, any of those is like, those 5 people have an exception to anything.
Of course, yeah.
Other than that, no exceptions to the pay me. I don't like your lifestyle. So
yeah, no, but I think that's good. That's really good, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, so to touch on even just your relationship, because having a good partner is important, right? Especially with someone with your mindset, you're driven, you know, you want to get your work done.
Yeah.
I think that's harder and harder and harder to find now because everyone is so everywhere with what they want. So like, how important would you say it is to have someone in your corner that backs you? Because I'm assuming like your girlfriend's a star because she's like by your side through all of this, you know?
An absolute star. My girlfriend is like truly the best person in my life. Like literally would do anything and everything for me at any point ever. Like there's nothing she would say no to. Yeah. And April will be like 9 years with her.
Wow.
I know. So everyone's like, where's the ring? Where's the baby? Whatever. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. But that was tough. You know, we started dating at 20. Yep. 19, 20. And she had to go through every phase of Anthony. Wow. And like in your 20s, I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
You change a lot.
100%.
You change a lot. Yeah. You want to do this. You want to do that. You want to be this person. You want to look like that. And so, and then especially from a guy like me, I'm very like sporadic. When I have an idea, I do it. Like I don't wait. And so, you know, she's seen so many chapters. I probably had 500 chapters just in my 20s. Yeah. And so she stuck around for every single one because she believed in who I was going to become. Right. You know, and obviously I would preach all the time, like, this is going to be our life. Yeah. You're going to have this. I just need you to support what I'm doing, and not just support, but truly believe in it as well.
Right, of course.
And she stuck through me through everything, like everything. You know, there was moments in my relationship where trying to push her away because I was like so in my head and I didn't know what I wanted. And you know, there was on and offs, and she stuck through everything. Wow. So I'm not going to say like every successful man needs that in his corner, but it will help him. I'll say that. Because there are obviously successful guys that are single. Yeah. So it's not like they're the anomaly. I think it's a pretty good amount of guys who are single that, you know, are super successful. Right. But it helped me because it was always somebody that no matter how down I was or like, you know, how discouraged I was because things weren't going right with the business or my life in general, like she always was like, nah, you'll figure this out. Yeah. You'll figure this out. And then as I started to kind of get a little more secure in my position, like she pushed me. She'd be like, I was living, so like I said, my parents were separated. Yeah. And so I was living with my mom until 26 or 27, I think 26 leading into 27. And she was like, we need to move out. Wow. And I'm like, and she pressured me on it. And then like, I was kind of in the moment, like, holy fuck, like why, no, it's extra money I don't have to spend right now, right? Blah, blah, blah. Like I'm not flashy. I don't wear anything flashy. Yeah, like I don't spend my money. I'm trying to like really make sure I use my money properly. So, and she just pushed me on it and pushed me on it and pushed me on it. And I didn't realize till like a year and a half into like moving out with her is like, that made me a man. Like when you move out on your own and you got to do your own shit and pay your own bills and buy your own groceries and make sure everything the household is upkept. Like I grew as a man.
For sure.
And she knew that would make me grow as a man.
Yeah.
But she pushed me. And sometimes you need somebody who's going to push you. So anytime I've ever gotten too comfortable, she's also like nudged me like off like the comfortable like ledge. Like, hey, get uncomfortable again. You know, in ways that like I get uncomfortable in business all the time.
For sure.
But in my personal life, it's like maybe sometimes I forget to get a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah. And so I had that partner just like kind of push me like, nah, do this, do that. And in the moment I'm like, fuck, just added stress. But then being the guy that I am, she's like, she's like, babe, you always figure it out. Yeah. Like I'm confident. Any issue you have, you always figure it out. Cause that's what I would tell her. Like early on, I'd say any issue I ever have, like I'm the guy who will fucking figure it out. Yeah. And so she's always pushed me in that sense. So just a superstar, like honestly, like no, like I said, no better person in my life, seriously. And so, you know, I'm proud. Like early on in our 20s, I think the reason we also were able to make it work so long, outside of her being like the glue, was we were aligned on what we wanted. I wanted a certain lifestyle. I wanted to be super rich. I wanted a stay-at-home, you know, wife and mother, and you know, someone to take care of the kids, the household. And she grew up on those values. Okay. So it was perfect. It wasn't, I was trying to tell a girl who's like, I want to have my own business, to all of a sudden be like, no, you're going to stay home, take care of the kids. She's like, done. Like, that's exactly what I want for my life. So we were already so aligned in our future goal from early on. So I think that helped, that every time things might have gotten a little rough, we could kind of come back to the table and be like, okay, but we still love each other and we both want the same thing. So it works, right? So that was a big conversation. I feel like in relationships, that's the biggest thing. People, they think it's like, oh, getting ahead of yourselves like too quickly. It's like, bro, you're better off knowing that you guys are aligned or unaligned today than 5 years down the road where you've built a life with this person, a connection, you moved in, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I want you to be, I don't know, as an example, I want you to be a stay-at-home wife and mother. And the girl's like, bro, what the fuck? Like, I want to be a business owner. And then now you're like, my biggest goal for you is not your biggest goal for you. How do we move forward? Because I don't want you to also have to change your life for what I want, right? So I just, coming from somebody who's been in a 9 year successful relationship, be open and honest about what you want for the future, like as early as possible. Yeah. Like don't even wait a year. That's way too long. I would say like 4 or 5 months maximum. Get to know the person and then do it. So yeah, she's been a star. She's been a star. It's funny. Ernesto's always like, dude, I don't even know where you found this girl. Like, wow. Like he's like, bro, I would be in a relationship too if I had a girl like this who supported everything, right? Like, so she'll fly out to like, when we fly to Miami and do shit, like I'll take her along with us. Like she comes, I actually, so she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. She hates like the working life. And like, I mean, don't we all to a certain extent? Yeah. But again, like she had a vision for her life. So last year I retired her. Wow. So another person on my shoulders. Huge. Again, that was added pressure. That was now like somebody that I have to care for from a monetary perspective. For sure. But obviously I put myself in a position to do that. And so, yeah, like I was able to retire her, like, babe, tell your boss, like 2 weeks, like this is it, you know? So and so yeah, now she stays home, like, you know, takes care of the house. Like I get a fresh cooked meal every night. Yeah. Laundry is done. The house is spick and span. And like, she loves reading. So has 7,000 books in the house that I buy for her, and she reads as much as she wants to. And her sister recently had a child. I think he's almost 2 years old now. Junior, shout out Junior, my godson actually. And so she takes care of him too. And so like I've been able to put her in a position where she can do things she loves to do. For sure. You know, so again, that's another like sort of accomplishment for me. But she pushed me as a man to get to that point, or else maybe I wouldn't have. Yeah. Right. True. So yeah, I'm glazing my girlfriend. I have the best girl. I have a better girlfriend than anybody right now. I'm just telling you guys straight. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good. She's been a key factor in my success for sure. And so to circle it back to your question, I would definitely recommend finding a partner who believes in you, understands the vision, and is aligned on your roles within the relationship, because a relationship is a business deal the same way, like, I agree. You know, I pay you for a service, you give me the service. Right. My girlfriend brings this to the relationship, I expect her to, and I bring this to the relationship and she expects me to. So as long as we're all aligned on those things, and as an entrepreneur, it's a great investment. It's an investment, it takes work, but it's a great investment. Sure. But on the flip side of that, the wrong partner can set you down a very bad road. Also so there's a fine line. That's why I say at the beginning, as early as possible, set your standards and understand if you're aligned on the future goal. If you can put those things into place very early on, you'll set yourself up for success.
Yeah, for sure. Well, she sounds awesome, even just to stick by you through that. And like,
Yeah.
you know, she's real because you obviously had like low points and
sure.
she stuck through you in the low points. If she was just in it because you said, I'm going to be rich one day, she would have cut, you know? And
Way
like even
early.
100%. And even just the way she pushes you is so important. And I think a lot of people don't do that, or sometimes they're scared to do that with their partner because they don't know how they'll react. But it's like, if you're doing it out of love and you know what they can achieve, just do it, you know? And even to touch on, you know, a line early, someone said to me once, like, marry first, date later. So like straight up say what you need out of like marriage first. I know people that have literally done it on like second, third dates straight. They're like, I don't want to waste time. Like, what do you want for your future? This is what I want for mine.
That makes sense.
You're not wasting time. And then, okay, we're aligned. Okay, let's date, you know?
Yeah.
So I heard that. And when I heard that once, I was like, oh, fuck, that's genius. That's smart, right?
It makes sense. Again, and that's a great way to put it. Like if you compare it, I can always compare relationships to a business deal.
Yeah.
If you and I are getting into a business deal and we're talking about the business deal for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, and I'm pitching you on all these great things and how I'm so great, whatever. But then on the 12-month, the 1 year point, I go, hey, actually, we're going to do this. You're like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah,
for
where
12 months, you told me that we were doing this.
Yeah.
Now we're doing this. You wasted 12 months. You wasted a year. So
100%.
that's a great point. Marry first, date later. I like that.
Yeah, it's a quick little
Get
way.
straight to it.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's your mom, your girlfriend, two big roles.
Yeah.
Now let's dive into Ernesto a little bit because
My guy.
Ernesto is like basically your brother.
Yeah.
But explain a little bit, because I know Ernesto kind of had more of like a name, right?
Yes.
In like the promoting scene
Yes.
and his socials, his branding. Like you knew Ernesto. Even if you didn't know him, you knew him.
Yes.
So it's like, how did you now, you know, handle like the come up beside him? Because like I'm sure like there's people that were like, well, who are you kind of compared to Ernesto,
100%.
right?
Yeah,
So like
100%.
how did you build that connection with him, but also build yourself and keep your confidence? It's like, no, I know who I am. I know he vouches for you a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like as his guy. But how did you do it personally?
Yeah, for sure. First things first, like, dude, shout out Ernesto, man. Like that guy, he's my brother. Like he's like I consider him like equal to like my immediate family. Like that guy is more to me than a lot of people on this planet. Like I would do anything for him. I would take a bullet for him, seriously. And that's for so many different reasons, you know. To your point, when we started working together, he was definitely a much bigger brand personally than I was, like by a mile. And I think the reason why it worked so well was because he was like, I know who I am and I know what I need in a partner. And back to this whole business relationship thing, I looked at him and said, I know what I need in a partner and I know what I can provide. And so we came together, like it was so seamless.
Yeah.
You know, we started working together on a couple events and then we were spending every day together. And then it was like, well, dude, like we're just so aligned. Like we want the same things. We work well together. We know our strengths, our weaknesses, and we kind of fill those gaps. So Ernesto, for anybody, like just to give you an idea, I'm the vision guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, this is where the world's heading. This is where we need to go. And then he goes, okay. And then he gets to work and builds the processes.
Yeah.
So it's a very like well-oiled machine. Hey, brother, this is the direction we need to go. I do the creative. I put that all together. And then he builds out the back end, like the sort of tedious, like boring things for a lot of people, but like the systems that make the engine run. I go, this is the engine and this is why we need the engine. And I'll kind of put the high level things around it, but all the little intricate pieces inside for the business, the engine, he puts them together. So that's kind of how our relationship works. But yeah, coming up, you know, alongside Ernesto, it was a blessing. Like obviously he kind of took me under his wing and sort of just started putting me on, like, guys, like this is my business partner. This is my business partner. And for a lot of times at the beginning, like we'd go into meetings. This is more on nightlife, less about the marketing, but more nightlife where like the guy Ernesto would literally be like, we're a package.
That's it.
So if you want me to promote this club, you have to give him like a deal. And by the way, not like, a smaller deal, like the same as me.
That's huge.
So this guy's getting premium rates because he's that guy in nightlife. Yeah. And he's literally being like, yo, it's my little bro. Like, you better give this, it's the same deal or I'm not coming.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden my pay raise in nightlife just goes up. We were putting all that money to the business anyways. Yeah. But, you know, and he would just always put me on and was never sort of afraid to tell people like, this is my guy. So like the same way you see me, you see him.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't say that word for word, but he would he would say it in his actions and the way that he would show love to me in front of other people. And so, you know, I'm forever indebted to him for that, because that gave me a lot of confidence, you know. And in the moments where, you know, people maybe wouldn't show me as much respect, quote unquote, as they would him, like he would go extra hard to make sure like, oh, like he's respected, you know? And that gave me confidence that I was sort of lacking at a certain point in my life. And so, you know, I started going, fuck, like, okay, yeah, people are sort of like looking at me a little bit differently, you know? And he's smart, because I think he saw that as an investment. He's like, if I invest in this kid and I make sure people know like he's this guy, and then he gains confidence from that, and so he starts acting like that guy. Oh my God, now I have like almost another me. And like, if I have another me, we can go much farther than just one me. You know? So as much as it was him like doing it out of the goodness of his heart and understanding, he also was understanding it's a business play.
For sure.
Right? So it's both sides, and I'm grateful for both sides. I'm grateful for putting me on and helping me build this brand and giving me the confidence to do it. And on the flip side, I'm like, yeah, bro, now we're a two-headed monster, right? So we can be in the same room if we need to, but we can also stand in separate rooms and hold the same type of respect, and people will respect us the same way. And so, yeah, it was tough. And you know what, like I always go back to this conversation with him. We laugh about it now, but like I always go back to this conversation with him that we had in Portugal. We had a Portugal trip together, and we were in an Airbnb in Porto, and we were like getting sauce. We were drinking like wine like crazy. It was still in our promoting days. And we were getting all sauce, and this was early neighborhood days, and we were starting to gain some traction. And I like looked at him and I was like, bro, like I have no ego in this shit. Like if you need to be the face of neighborhood, brother, please, like it's all you. Like I'm not here like, I'm not here to be like, I need to be the face. I don't give a shit. I want a successful company. That's what I want to do. And wherever I slot in, I slot in. But if you got to be the face, man, I'm all for it. And we laugh, and he's like, dude, you don't know the amount of respect I gained when you said that. Cause he's like, I wanted you to be the face, by the way. But he's like, the fact that you were saying that was like so crazy to me, because he's like, all of the other businesses that he had been a part of, all the other guys would get jealous in a way because they had zero personal brands. Like I had a little bit of one, they had zero. So it was like, why is Ernesto getting all the praise? Why is he getting all the praise, right? For the success that we're having. I didn't give a fuck about that. I didn't give a shit. As long as I was seeing dollars going in the bank account in a way that I'd never seen before, I didn't give a fuck, right? So we go back to that conversation. We always laugh, right? Because then those conversations became like, nah, we're a two-headed monster. Like, trust me, we're going to do better in business if we have another me, like from a brand perspective. And I just took it and ran with it. But like he really put me on. He really put me on and put me in a position to like, you know, sit in conversations like this and speak so confidently in what I'm doing, right? I've always been very confident in myself, but I feel like when you get into business and you start hitting the 100,000, 2, 5, 7 million, 1.5, like your confidence has to grow with those milestones. 100%. And so he kind of gave me the foundation of like, this is the way to be confident in business. And I took it and ran with it. So we're like a two-headed monster when it comes to this shit. And yeah, I don't know like where I'd be without him. The guy is like, seriously, he's like my brother. Like there's not many people like on this earth that have done as much for me as he has.
Wow. That's huge. That's huge. And I think a big part of what he did was also because he saw that vision in you. It wasn't only what I'm also like gathering from everything you've done and say you're going to do, you actually do. So like you say you're going to do it, whether it's like in the moment or a month or a week or a year, whatever, you get your shit done like you said. And like a guy like him respects that. And like even the fact that you didn't come in with ego, like a lot of people would or try to leverage him and like his network and who he was and kind of use him. And the fact that you didn't do that is huge respect, right? I think anyone would respect that because it's like, okay, no, this guy actually wants to succeed. It's not about me and my knowing and all that comes with it, but he likes me for me. And I feel like sometimes at that level where he was, that's hard to get. So that's huge on your part for going in that way, but that all goes back to you knowing your goals and what you want.
Correct.
People that don't know that would be there and be like, okay, I'm with Ernesto. And it's like, okay, yeah, what do you want to do? Anything you want to do. But it's like, you brought ideas. You're like, you bring your why. I realize you bring the why, he brings the how.
Yeah.
So
Literally.
I read a book called Start With Why, Simon Sinek.
Okay.
Huge book. You should read it. It's like massive.
Okay.
And it's big for entrepreneurship. It's about finding your why. And it says every well-oiled machine, every successful business, he goes into Apple, Microsoft, there's the why guy and there's the how guy. And like what you just described, you're the why. This is why we got to do it. Ernesto's the how. This is how we're going to do it. The systems, the processes.
Yes.
And that's how you get success.
Interesting. That's a cool way to put it. Yeah. No, that's literally us.
Yeah.
And you know, I think his first sort of little taste of me bringing the why was like, again, we were doing nightlife.
Yeah.
But we knew damn well we didn't want to do nightlife forever.
Right.
And so I'm spending all this time with him, and he's getting like, oh, do you know a photographer? Do you know a videographer? Do you know a web designer? Do you know this? Every day he's getting these. Every fucking day.
Yeah.
Because he was the guy who was just like, you need fucking tires, you need furniture, call Ernesto. But I'm noticing a lot of them are like website, videographer, graphic designer, blah, 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 this and that, like stuff in the creative space. And finally, after like a month straight of seeing this, I go, bro, are you making money off this? Nah, man, I'm just connecting people because I want to build a network and like, hopefully they'll come out with me one day to the club. I was like, nah, man, that changes literally today. Like we're going to start an agency, which is essentially the middleman of all of this.
Yeah.
And that was like and he was like, whoa, okay. Like that makes fucking sense. We already have clients right off the bat. And so to your point of like the whole why, like I understood the why. And I think that's something where, because he's such a how guy and such a process guy, like he wants to perfect all of those things. But again, you still need that higher level, that vision, that why guy to say, this is why we're going to do that. You know what I mean? And so that's why it just kind of meshed perfectly.
For sure. Yeah.
And when Neighborhood went so well,
Yeah.
I think that also grew his confidence and like, oh, this is really the why guy. Like this is really the guy who has the vision. And from there, I came with the podcast idea.
Yeah.
Okay, I knew the why. I sat him down where, you know, the agency, we lost all our clients, COVID, everyone cut marketing. And
isn't it funny how marketing is the first thing to go? But
like
you kind of need it.
The total opposite. It's the total
100%.
opposite. That's a whole other story. But you know, we're sitting, I don't smoke weed anymore, but at the time I was a huge stoner. So was he. We're sitting in the office all stolen, like, well, we got like, I don't know, 30K left in the bank account and like nothing going on and like no clients. Like, what the fuck are we going to do? The world's ending. Who knows? And I was like, bro, everyone, like, I was noticing because I was taking it from myself. Everyone's on their phones more than ever right now because of COVID, right? Everyone's at home, no one's working, whatever. I was like, we should be the faces that everyone sees all the time talking about business and marketing so that hopefully when the world comes back again, they're gonna be like, okay, I need a marketing agency. Oh, Anthony and Ernesto were talking about marketing for all fucking, the whole lockdown. They were the guys just spamming marketing shit. And so that's where that vision came. And then he said, done. Weekly, we need the team, we need this, da, 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 da. He put it together. You know what I mean? Yeah. Boom. Okay, great. Then you know, that same thing happened with MBH TV. Okay, we've done it. We've learned the business. We see where we're going. And I'm seeing all of these big players in the media space looking at these independent networks. And so, okay, Ernesto, I set him down, bro. We need to do this. This is why we need to do it. And this is where our exit is. And this is where the whole thing is. Done. Systems, process it. You know what I mean? Whatever. Yeah. So I think because of the successes that all of our businesses have had individually, that just continuously makes the belief in whatever my vision is stronger, right? And then I've been able to now pass that down to him, but also pass that down to my team as well. I've learned that now as a leader, if you want people to buy into your vision, you need to understand how to communicate that to him.
For sure.
To them, excuse me. So yeah, it's been an interesting process, but yeah, that's an interesting way. I never thought about, like, I've always been like, I'm the dream guy and he's the process guy, but I'm the why guy and he's the how guy. Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
There's your machine.
Yeah.
So then you mentioned the pod. So let's tap into the pod.
For sure.
I think one thing for sure I want to bring up, we'll get into like a podcast or like a thing now and all that, but your name of your podcast, I think in itself will just gain traction, right? Yeah. Like money buys happiness, which is so controversial. And so two things. One is you guys speak a lot of controversy. And I remember I reached out to you, like, I think it was last year, and I was like, I want to talk about COVID and I want to talk about this stuff, but how does it affect your business? And you said something to me, and from that point, it stuck with me, where it's like, speak who you are and what you believe in, and the right clients will come to you. And if they aren't aligned with you, they don't need to do business with you. And from that point, I realized like he's so right. So I literally dropped the pod, literally just ripping COVID in 2020 and what happened, whatever. And I sometimes forget I have it up. So I'll get clients and I'll be like, fuck. Like if they go and they watch that and then I'm like, no, but that's me though. If you come ask me now, I'm going to give you the same opinion. Like that's what I believe. And I'm not shitting on you or thinking you're wrong. This is just what I believe. Believe what you want. You're entitled to that, right?
That's simple.
But so speak on, what's your opinion on speaking controversy? Your pod started from a business idea. So where was that transition that it kind of went from like the marketing entrepreneurs to like, all right, guys, like we got to get jabbed. Like, fuck that, you know? So where did that switch happen?
The transition was crazy, to be honest. It happened like one episode. So, okay. I mean, first thing to the name, Money Buys Happiness. So again, like when I come up with the vision, I'm also the brand guy.
Okay.
So like neighborhood, I thought about like, okay, if we're going to be the guys in marketing that can work with any business, we like our clientele is across the board, every industry.
Right.
So like any industry that could be in a neighborhood could work with us.
Cool.
So that's where that kind of came from. And I just loved the way the name looked.
Yeah.
And then Money Buys Happiness. Yeah, it was kind of like, I wanted it to be a name that was triggering where people were like, because the classic saying is money doesn't buy happiness.
Correct.
So people will be like, money buys happiness. Oh, you know, I wear merch in my condo and my condo's full of old people and they see me wear like my shirts and they're like, that's not right. But it sparks a conversation.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the initial idea behind the name. You're correct. It was very business focused, marketing focused. For at least 30 episodes, maybe 30, 40 episodes.
Yeah.
But then it got to a point where crazy shit was happening with the government and COVID and the lockdowns and whatever. So it was like outside of the pod was still talking about business, but my personal brand, I was going crazy on my stories, posting shit like, these people are fucked. This is crazy. They want to control you. Don't get the jab, like whatever. And I was getting so much love and hate on that personal brand content that I was like, fuck, this could go crazy if I put this on the pod 100%. And like make it more long form and whatever. And so Ernesto and I just looked at each other and we're like, it was one of those like stone in the office decisions to be like, let's flip this around for a bit. Maybe we go back to business, but like right now, Canada needs to hear what we have to say. Yeah. That was our opinion about it. And so, you know, both our sisters are also like minority owners of neighborhood. Like we brought them in and we gave them a percentage. Yeah. And so both of them were like, don't do that. Stop. Don't do it. And we're like, no, we're still going to do it. And at the time we didn't realize that it was like people like that. It would sort of weed out the bullshit and like really make sure that like our clients were people that aligned with us. We didn't even realize that at the beginning. Yeah. We just did it truly because we were like, Canada needs this. Yeah. Someone's got to speak up. If it's not us, who's it going to be? Yeah. We love our country. We love our people. Like we know so many people are DMing us from our personal content saying like, oh my God, you're saying everything I want to say, but I can't say it because it's like, I'm going to lose my job or my family's going to disown me or blah, 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 blah. So we're like, fuck that. We'll be the voice for the people that can't speak. Yeah. And so we just decided to make that flip and we started going crazy heavy on like everything that's happening is completely fucked up. And that's when we started to see like crazy growth in the podcast. Yeah. We started to really gain traction when we started going that direction, which obviously was like more proof to us that like people want to hear what we have to say, whether they agree with it or not. They want an opinion and they want to hear things that people are afraid to say online. They want to look at two assholes who are willing to say it. Yeah. So that was one big piece of it. And then to the client perspective, we end up learning, which I guess is what I told you later on, was like the people who don't want to work with us will leave, but we're going to open doors to a whole new group of people that are, because a lot of the people that were DMing us saying, keep talking, keep speaking up, they were entrepreneurs because they were the ones having their businesses shut down, things like that. So I'm going, fuck. All these entrepreneurs are fucking with me more now than ever. Yeah. Like when their business turns around, they can open back up. They're working with us right away. We're the first people. And so that's what it did. And truthfully, we didn't really lose many clients. Yeah. We actually just gained a fuck ton because people were just, even if they didn't agree, they ended up being like, whoa, I respect you for having the balls to say that. And so that just put us on a different level brand wise, where people were like, okay, yeah, cool. I want to work with you. Because if you guys are bold enough to say this, like what kind of sick marketing shit you're going to bring to my business?
It's true.
And so that was kind of the change that we made, and we never really stopped. Now we do a lot of, we've geared back to a little bit more business stuff as well, but we still do the controversy. We just are having conversations that me and Ernesto have on a day-to-day basis, just on the microphone.
Yeah. Which is big because it's natural. Whereas I think sometimes, because now everybody has a podcast and I think they know controversy will fly. So it's like, let's talk about something. I may not fully believe in this opinion, but I'm just going to say it. Hopefully it goes viral. Then it's controversy, you know? Whereas like with you guys, there was that passion. You can tell it was actually your belief. And that's why people not buy into it, respect it.
Yeah.
Whereas you're hoping they'll buy into it if you don't believe it, but you know, like, okay, Trump for president. Okay, hopefully this goes viral now, you know? Like shit on me, hate on me, make the algorithm go.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, but now if you come have a conversation with me, oh, why do you want Trump for president? And I'm like, yeah, so I've never been to the States.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I can't keep that same energy.
You're right, yeah.
Yes.
So I think that was a huge shift. And I know for me, like I was following you guys a bit when you were like smaller doing the entrepreneur stuff. The moment you started talking about COVID, because I have the same views, I was like, okay, I fuck with them. Like that's sick, you know?
But see what I mean? Like that was a way for people to buy into our brand because they were like, these dudes are just being real.
Yeah.
That's it.
100%.
Whether I agree, I disagree. A lot of people agreed. Some didn't. But people were like, whoa, these guys are real. You know, and I think that's even outside of a podcast for sure, but even just content in general, just like people got to realize that like, especially nowadays, because the content game is so fucking saturated. Like if you're not being honest and real, people can see it through the screen.
100%.
It's not 2018 where you can do some bullshit, fake gold digger pranks, this and that, where it's like, people are like, whoa, whatever, this is that guy. If you're not being real, people will smell it. Like people are spending, you know, anywhere between 2 to 4 hours a day on social media platforms. Yeah. Like we're trained. Like our brains are trained to see like, oh, that guy's legit and that guy's not. You know what I mean? So you got to try to be as authentic as possible when you're creating content.
For sure. And I think even like, you know, before everything was like, get the perfect video, make it edited. Now it's like, well, no, get on your story and be raw. Like I'll tell even my social media clients, like I can make you the content and we can make it look good. But so is the next guy doing what you're doing. But people are going to come to you for you. You're the owner, right? Yeah. Especially on like a smaller business. Yes. Don't overthink it. Oh, if I stutter, if I this or if I that. Even like with my pod, when I'd have people on the big, you're going to edit out like my stutter or my this. I'm like, no, because if I meet you in person, that's you, right? Yes. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yes. So hop on your story, be you, be authentic. People will love it or they'll hate it. Who cares? Yes. For every group that hates you, there's a group that loves you, right?
Fucking facts.
And like, I feel so many people forget that. Yeah. It's like, oh, they're hating on me, I should stop. And it's like, okay, but the 10 that messaged you that said they love what you said. Like, you can't forget about them either, right? Yes. So again, like tying that into your why, you guys knew why you were putting the content out. You knew why you were speaking. Yep. So if people hated you or not, like, sure, it could bother you, but you knew there was people that loved it. For sure. So you're going to keep going with it, right? For sure. And then obviously, like for your pod, it grew, you know, you hustled, you got Nelk, right? Like that was a whole experience in itself. I think to me, what was eye-opening about that, and I'm going to let you speak on it, was, you know, you signed with Nelk, and Nelk is huge. People love Nelk, and it's like, they're set. Like, that's it. They're in Nelk now, whatever. Then you guys post, like, a bit later, and it was like, okay, so we're not working with Nelk anymore. So I'm like, yo, these guys just dropped Nelk. Like, what happened, right? Yeah. But I think, to me, it's like, but you knew your why, right? You stay true to who you were. So I guess, like, what for you really triggered that, like, you know, like this was great, you know, it put us on, like we respect them in the partnership, but it's time for us to step back to stick to who we are. Yeah. It's a great question. Yeah, I think like, look, obviously again, respects to those guys. They put us on in a big way that definitely boosted our brand personally and you know, the pod and whatnot. But, you know, we had two options. It was try to mold our personalities to fit who they are, or at least were in that moment, which was like heavy partiers, heavy drinkers, going crazy, blah, 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 blah. Or we stay true to ourselves. The molding ourselves to their brand would have been the easier way out. For sure. We probably still would have been with them. We would have been doing all the crazy shit that they're doing, and probably had a lot more money in the bank via the podcast than we do today. But
that would only last so long, right? How long would I be willing to be that type of person? Who knows? Who knows? Is it a year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Then I crash out. Ernesto and I, back to the beginning, back to speaking about COVID, doing all that stuff, is like we've always decided that like we're going to be Anthony and Ernesto, and whoever we are in that chapter of our life, that's what we're going to show people. And so it just kind of got to that point where I think there was a little bit of a disconnect of maybe they wanted us to be certain people that we weren't willing to be. And a lot of people will hear this or have said this to us in other podcasts and stuff like, you guys are stupid. You burn the, you ruin the biggest chance you'll ever have in your life, blah, 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 blah. And you know, again, you're not paying me. I don't want your lifestyle. But the third piece with those comments specifically is like, that person says that because they have a sad life. They're not doing what they always dreamed they'd be doing. Yeah. But I am. I'm running 3 successful businesses, 3 multi-million-dollar businesses. I'm living my dream. Yep. I'm living my dream every day. So for people on the outside looking in, they couldn't believe we left. Yeah. But if they spend one day in my body, in my shoes, they would understand why we left. And so look, like I said earlier, sometimes you take a step back to take 10 forward. And that's what that was for us. We took a step back. Of course, you lose the Nelk audience. Yeah. We're talking tens of thousands, 100,000s of followers, views, things like that. And we took that L. Yeah. But we took that L because we knew where we were headed after, right? And I don't ever want somebody to be able to go, especially because online, what you put online is there forever. 100%. I don't ever want anyone to be able to go back online and be like, that guy was faking it, or Anthony wasn't being real during this period of his time, of his time online, just to make some money. Yeah. Like, I don't care. I know how to make money. Yeah. The $1 million that I didn't make by staying with Nelk, I'll make it somewhere else. 100%. I know how to make it elsewhere, right? The ultimate decision was, bro, do we believe in ourselves more than anything? Yeah. What's the answer? The answer is yes. Then we have to do our own thing, right? So I think high level from the deal that we did with them, that was like the big piece. I'm always assuming, because I never had this conversation with Kyle, and I'd love to one day. I'd love to see what his opinion is on it, because we were growing. Mm-hmm. And we were growing every day, and our podcasts were crushing numbers wise when we were with them. We were getting brand deals left, right, and center. Like, our merch was selling out in 24 hours. Like, and we were delivering on everything and going above and beyond everything that was asked of us. So I always tried to wonder, I was like, maybe is it because we didn't want to be those party guys? Maybe is it because, people thought we were better podcast hosts? I don't know. There's so many different things that it could have been. And maybe egos play. I don't know. I don't know. And I'll never speak with certainties if I don't know for sure. Right. There's a lot of different theories that I have about it. But again, no bridges burned. I'm sure you watched that podcast, or you saw the clips of it. And it was just like, yeah, we're very appreciative of what they did for us and the way they put us on. The obviously the deal didn't go the way that we would have dreamed that it went. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And we move on and we move forward, and we understand who we are. We understand where we want to get to. And so we're putting in the work every day, post that to get to that sort of North Star, that dream that we have. But I think that's a testament, and that should be something for everybody, is like, don't let money dictate who you are. Be who you are, and the money will come.
100%. It's always a byproduct.
Correct.
And I think too, like, you guys are very driven and focused, and being under them, if you had stayed, not only it's you molding to their shape, but now you're under someone else's direction to a certain point.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. We definitely were.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's like, that's hindering to 2 guys that are just animals when it comes to like entrepreneurship and what they want to do. It's almost like going back to a 9-to-5, but without actually doing it. Yes. Right. So it's like a blessing in disguise where, people that are looking at you saying, well, you're crazy. And it's like, okay, but you're also, one, not in my shoes. You haven't achieved what I achieved. You don't have my mindset, my morals, my values, and you don't know what I'm capable of. So you're maybe hating your life, you're projecting what it would be like to be under Nelk,
Yes.
but you've never been under Nelk. It's like Dragon's Den. You hear so many stories. Everyone wants to be on Dragon's Den. And then it's like, you ask a guy who got a deal, how was it? And there's always like, oh, well, what didn't work like this and it didn't work like that. So it's easy for people to judge from the outside, but they don't actually know how it works behind the closed doors, right?
Well, it's funny you say that. Like, after we sort of like released that video, we had like Nelk employees reaching out to us being like, hey man, like just spilling dirt on like their operation that like we could maybe see a little bit of, but then some stuff that we had no idea. They were really like, some guys were really spilling dirt. And, you know, we had the opportunity to like bring people on the show and like spill some stuff from the back end, but like, why would I ever do that? Like ultimately, again, these guys have, don't get me wrong, worked harder than anyone you can imagine to build what they built. And fine, we weren't aligned. Like all fucking good. It's all good, dude. I wish the best for you. They crush. I know what they're up to. I see what's going on, like, and they're crushing, right? I think this is a lesson for like people who maybe put themselves in a position where they feel like they're molding and then decide to step away. Never burn that bridge. You never know what's going to happen, right? You never know if they may want to work with you again, or you may want to work with them, or whatever the situation is. But when you step out of a deal like that, it's very easy to want to come to the microphone and talk shit. 100%. It's very easy, right? And you know, in that episode where we kind of announced like we left, you know, I made sure like prior to us starting was like, we're not talking shit here. We'll tell the story with the utmost authenticity and we'll be as truthful as possible in the way that we tell this story. Hence why you never heard any of them come back and say that's not true. Right? We told everything that we told. We obviously left certain things out because again, I don't want to burn, I don't think that it would have burnt their empire by any means, but I don't want to put any bad energy onto what they've built. That's what they built, and respects to them, you know? So we kept certain things out of it to kind of just make sure that like they understood that we still respect them heavily. And we told our truth though. We spoke truth about it, and there's a respect factor. We still follow each other till this day. All the guys, whatever, here and there, DMs, this and that. But yeah, it would, listen, at the end of the day, like everything in life is just a learning lesson. So it's just like, what you choose what you want to learn from something. And we made our decisions off that.
It's all I always say life is perspective. Like you can look at it negatively, you can look at it positively. And it's always harder to find the positive and the negative. But there's always both.
You got to flex that muscle though. You got to learn how to find the positive. It's not easy to do, but yeah. Definitely.
And I think it also aligns to, you know, at the beginning, like you were saying, like even, I forgot which deal when you were younger, and with the tickets, with Digital and Veld. And you were like, I didn't screw anyone because I don't want them to say like Anthony's a scammer, you know, or like he screwed us. And it's that same situation. Okay, so you left Nelk, you didn't come on here and start shit talking them where it's like, oh, those fucking guys, they left us, hear what they said. It's like, no, they still got to respect you because you didn't say anything wrong. And that again, just is a testament to like who you guys are. And then even just to kind of touch on, you know, like the parting side, I know you're on like a big like health thing right now. So what was that trigger for you? Like you stopped smoking weed and you were like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go like start going to the gym and like being healthy. What was that transition like? And like, when did you realize I got to do this to keep my success up? Like healthy mind, healthy body.
No, for sure. So the weed, so actually February, so it's 1 year since I smoked weed.
Hey, amazing.
Yeah. So I'm pretty proud of that. I had done a few breaks before that were long, like 6 months, 7 months, but I've been smoking weed pretty much daily for like 15 years. I had been doing it for like 15 years. Like I was selling weed in fucking grade 9, right? So that was more just like a test. I was just trying to test myself. Like every time I had done a long break, it was more just to like reset my brain to be like, you are in full control. There's no vice that controls you. 100%. And so that was really the weed thing, honestly. It wasn't like I wasn't having any sort of like crazy like health, mental things. I just did it for that. And then I had passed like the 8-month mark, which I think was my longest break I ever took. And then I was like, I'm just going to go forever. I'm just going to never smoke weed again. And just like laugh about like how February of 2024 that I was just like, I'm never smoking weed. And then I just never did. So that's kind of how that came to be. And then, like there have been benefits to it. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, my life's been incredibly different. I truthfully can't really feel it too much, like what the difference was. Because I was also smoking, I don't even know if this like makes sense. Like this is an oxymoron. I was smoking in the healthiest way. Like I was smoking a little bit of weed
Yeah.
at the end of the night.
Okay.
Like
pass
me and my
out.
girl smoke a joint, whatever, go for a drive, just buzz out, whatever. It was like my way to calm myself, you know.
Yeah.
So I had to just find other ways to like calm my brain down. So that's the weed side of it. And then at the end of 2024, I had a moment of my life where I just got like super, like I lost my confidence, and it's so many different reasons. We were in the middle of like trying to raise money for the network, and it was the first time I ever done that. And yeah, just like I was just teamed up with the wrong people, and I was promised things that just weren't legit,
Yeah.
and promises weren't upheld. But so I decided to just walk away from raising the money. We had a lot of commitments of people who were ready to like write us checks, but I like literally threw it all away because I was like, yeah, this is the wrong partnership, like whatever. And so it put me in a position where for the first time since starting Neighborhood, I was like, I was unsure of if my idea was actually feasible and if anybody actually would believe in it.
Wow.
And so it was the first time I ever had that experience. And so that just put me into like a whirlwind of like, I lost all my confidence because like I'm the why guy.
Yeah.
I'm the vision guy. So for like a group of like successful people to be like, I'm not interested. I was like, wait a minute. So is like everything I'm trying to build here like not good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, am I not headed in the right direction? This would be the first time in my life that my sort of vision is wrong.
Yeah.
And so I just went through that sort of period. I ended up learning that if you're in the wrong room, sometimes you'll look like an idiot, but in the right room, you're a genius, right? And so I learned that lesson later on. But so that would kind of happen during the summer, and I just lost my confidence in like life, business. I put on some weight. I had already been a little bit heftier, but I put on some weight, and yeah, I just hit close to the end of the year. I think it was like September, and just was just down bad and like mentally. And I just, every time like I read books or I watch podcasts of like super successful people, the one thing I always remember all these like hyper successful dudes saying is like, when everything's going wrong in your life, get in the gym.
Yeah.
Like that will clear shit up. And that's really what it was. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going in here to like lose a certain amount of pounds. For the first reason I got back into the gym and like really started dieting and doing my shit properly, I shouldn't even say dieting, like eating properly, was I was like, I just need to get my head right.
Yeah.
And that was the catalyst for like what is now my lifestyle. So that was September. I met my coach, Coach Dan, from Aesthetics Factory. Shout out Coach Dan, changed my life, bro. It's funny how we met. I was doing one of the cash giveaways.
Yeah.
The $1,000,
so
hiding it. I was hiding it at Wonderland, and
Oh my God, the whole thing.
I got fucking banned from Wonderland, whatever. But we had like 300-400 people show up, and as I'm walking back to my car, this fucking really nice BMW pulls up, and it's Coach Dan. This is a year ago, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm not even here for the money. I know I definitely missed it, but I just opened a gym down the street. Here's my card. I'll train you for free 16 weeks."
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, whatever, bro. Took the card, threw it in my fucking
Glove box.
like whatever. I don't know where my car I fucking threw it. My car's a mess. And yeah, a year later, I'm having this realization of like, bro, you're kind of down bad right now. Like,
Yeah.
get in the gym.
Yeah.
And I put out a story being like, hey, looking for a trainer, like whatever, blah, 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 who's like willing to like work with me. And Coach Dan hit me up, and then I put the reference from like, oh, the card, the name of the card.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I got to get, like, I have to work with this guy. Like, he hit me up a year ago.
Yeah.
Like, found me in the parking lot.
Literally
Like,
pulled up.
literally pulled up. And yeah, that was pretty much it. That was like, the rest is history. I did a couple sessions with him, and I was like, yeah, you're the guy. Like, our workouts are fucking, I work out only 3 times a week.
Wow.
But they are intense. Like, they are the most intense workouts I've ever done.
Yeah.
So for 1 hour every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I push myself to the limit mentally and physically. And that's just set me up to be so much stronger. The body looking better, the abs slowly coming in, all that fun stuff. It's just a cherry on top. I go to Coach Dan, and I work with Dan because he pushes me in a way that I can't push myself right now. And so he takes me from he could take me from like a stressful morning of emails to then like that 60 minutes that I get with him. It's almost like meditation.
Wow.
I'm fucking drenched and I'm dying and I can't breathe, but it's like the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
So it's the craziest thing. So yeah, I think anybody, if anyone's down bad in any way, like in just whatever, mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever, get in the gym. It's like the best thing to do. Like it'll help you clear your mind. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily like I want to like slim down and get abs type of vibe, although that ends up being like the byproduct of it.
Right.
But it was like get my mind right and get my confidence back. And so that confidence that I had lost in 2024, I'm more confident than ever right now.
Yeah.
And then of course, yeah, when you start looking better, you're looking leaner, your clothes fit a little bit better, things like that. People are, whoa, you lost a lot of weight. You know, those are all little added bonuses. Helps the ego, you know?
For sure.
But it was more of just a get my confidence back thing. Now I've integrated it and it's become my lifestyle. You know, I'm not on a diet anymore. It's just I eat this way now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And things have changed, but you know, for the better. So yeah, it's been totally mental for me.
For sure. Which is very different than what most people say, right?
For sure.
Most people are like, I gained weight, so that's why I'm not confident. I'm going to go to the gym so I can look lean and then become confident. But everyone's looking physical and forgetting about the mental.
Yes.
And it's like, but do you know the benefits the gym has on you mentally? Are you even looking at that aspect of it, right? So it's always easier to look at the surface level, but you look at it deeper, which is amazing.
I needed to. I had no choice. Like I was just again, I was always the guy that would walk in the room and be confident in who I was and what my ideas were. So to be in a position where, you know, 5 years, 6 years into my like serious entrepreneurial journey, 10, 15 into my like school days entrepreneurial journey, like, bro, like to not be confident in like in your one main strength, that'll break you. Like that'll have you feeling like really fucking bad, you know? And so I needed it.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. I needed it more than ever. That's why like I work with my coach Dan now to like we bless people. Like obviously he's like slammed in person, but his like online coaching, like I've seen him take people from like you wouldn't imagine to like looking like a whole different human. All online coaching just with programs and things like that. And so I've worked with him. We gave 10 people, like I paid for half of their online coaching out of my pocket. They paid for the other half because I don't want to give it for free because unless you put money on the table, you're not serious.
100%.
So I thought about doing it free, but then I was like, nah, they got to pay something because they got to be serious about this and wanting to change their life in that way. So yeah, we work together, and that's just like a big goal for myself this year is giving back in a way where, you know, I'm giving back by helping people. So whether it's giving away $1,000 cash, that's somebody that needs help with rent or their bills, or whether it's paying for half of somebody's coaching program, their 4 or 5 month coaching program, I'm covering half of it. Like I'm trying to give back in as many ways as I can right now, because that was something I realized, like Dan worked with me and he blessed me. So fuck, why not just kind of pass that blessing down where I can, right?
Yeah.
So that's been kind of the main motivator for all of it.
For sure. And it's also like, to just touch on the confidence, like your confidence is also what will sell, right? And what has. So it's like if you're confident in you can literally sell anyone anything. It could be a pen, right? But it's like it's because you're confident in yourself. And like the byproduct of even looking better, look good, feel good. So like that ties into the mental, right? And then to the giving back, like even the $1,000 giveaways, like some people would probably not even believe you guys were doing that. Like they're just giving away $1,000 randomly, but it's so fulfilling when you do give back. And I say like, you can't be at utmost success until you give back what you've achieved too, right? In any way possible. And like, you know, Nick, Regina, shout out to Nick, but like he's huge on that, right? And like he's all for like giving back and doing God's work. And like, even just in Wealth Club, we'll touch on it in a bit, but like all of the coaches kind of embody that, which I think is huge for any member that's signed up. So even the $1,000 giveaways, like you see people like they're crying, like you change their life, you meet them for a second. It's like you're almost God on earth for them, you know? And sometimes even if $1,000 isn't much to one person, it's the world of a difference to someone that has to pay their bills, right?
Yeah. That was definitely, we learned that very quickly. We had, you know, one guy was like, my dog needs life-saving surgery. Like this is literally paying for his surgery. One guy was like, I'm literally short on rent this month. Like this just gave me like the opportunity to like go another month. You know, oh my, like this is going towards my credit card bill. That's like, I'm way overdue. Like some of the stories that we were getting were pretty crazy. Like this is putting food on my children's, you know, plate, you know, like just some of the stories we were getting were incredible. And it was fun because it was great because we were having fun doing it.
For sure. Yeah.
So cool. We're actually launching next week 50K, 50 weeks.
Hey,
We're doing
okay.
$1,000 a week for 50 weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we're about to come back with a vengeance on that one. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna do a ton of the scavenger hunts
Okay, yeah.
that we did. Same type of vibe, but also, you know, for our audience that's not from Toronto or Miami, we bounce back and forth. Like different online things, like different online challenges.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Like we're ready to kind of kick that back up again this year. So excited about that.
That would be cool. Yeah, that was definitely life changing too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess like to touch even just on like the Miami side of things, because you brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys do go back and forth, like you have an Airbnb there, but you also do podcasts there.
Yeah.
Is it true what they say? Like, you know, move to Florida, it's better for business, go to Miami, get your shit done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like what's your opinion on that? Like
The Miami effect.
Yeah. Like I've been to Miami like 5 times, but for leisure.
Yeah.
Never gone for business.
Yeah.
So I went to Florida for that one conference, but it's a conference, everyone's there for business, right?
Sure,
So now I'm like, okay, so do we make the move? Do we go try it out?
Yeah.
Like, well, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I love it. There's obviously during COVID, there's been a big concentration of wealthy people moving to the state of Florida and more specifically Miami.
Yeah.
But yeah, Miami is just a place where when you have money, you go.
Right.
And so again, when you have a high concentration of people with money, business becomes a lot easier.
Yeah.
Money flows there much more simple than it does here, much more seamlessly and freely. So it's like you're in marketing. We own a marketing agency as well. You know, it's like pulling hair and fucking teeth to get somebody to write a check, right? Like, trust me, invest $1,000 in your business.
Yeah.
And really, like, you're really not going to do that.
Yeah.
Over there, it's like no questions asked. They're like, yeah, because first of all, the wealth there is incredible. So they're much more willing to like spend.
Yeah.
But they also understand Miami is that like sort of lavish lifestyle brand vibe there. So people understand that businesses need marketing dollars to grow. It just is what it is, right? So they're much more interested and willing to spend that money. They know it's coming full circle. Right. And then look, I mean, the obvious factors about it are like sunshine 24/7, having the ocean, the beach next to you. Like all of these things really matter. Live by the water, they say. It's a lot better for you, like health wise, right? So you have super wealthy people who understand the power of branding and marketing. You have the sunshine 24/7, the beach and the ocean next to you. No state tax. Like,
what are you doing here?
Yeah. Well, then you know what I mean? You start to put all those things together and you're like, oh, this place sounds like a dream, right? Yeah. And it has been for us. The networks that we've built there are like it's incredible. Some of our, you know, now business partners and clients and some of our, you know, mentors and things like that are all living in Miami or we met them in Miami, whatever the case is. So for anybody that's thinking about like just going there and checking out what's going on, go for the first time for leisure, but just, you know, take a spin. You're going to see a lifestyle that's very different than Toronto, let's say, or Vaughan or whatever. And you'll get a better idea of why people, at least from a like atmospheric standpoint, why they want to be there. Yeah. And then your second trip, try to get some business done, try to go to a conference, try to, you know, wiggle your way into rooms with people or situations. Like I said, if make it simple for yourself, go to a conference, go to something there that's aligned with your industry. And now you're going to say, you already know like the lifestyle and the atmosphere and why it's nice. And now the second time you're going to start to include some of the business you're doing, atmosphere and business second time and network. And just slowly you'll be like, fuck, I got to live here.
Yeah. It's just like, it's done.
Yeah. Generally how it goes. Yeah. So yeah, we definitely spent a lot of time there. And like I think I was telling you off camera, like my sister lives there now. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's even a more reason for me to go. Yeah. So I love it there. I love it.
That's dope. Yeah. So then from Miami and Toronto, tying back to the pod, because you've done podcasts in both places. So I guess just in general, who's been your favorite guest and why? Because you've interviewed some pretty big names.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
It's been so many good ones.
I know.
But
okay, do top 3. If that's easier.
Yeah, no, I'll give you one. Yeah. I'll give you one. I'm gonna say Patrick Bet-David was one of our best interviews, or one of my favorites at least. We've had a lot of good ones. Don't get me wrong, but the guy's just such a good speaker. Yeah. Like forget even the context of what we spoke about, just the way this guy handles himself. Yeah. It's incredible. So I'm like, I'll put it up there for that reason. Another one that's really good, and he's less known, but the episode went pretty crazy. It was our not this most recent one, the second last one we just posted. Odie Kobo, billionaire. The guy's doing deals with like the Qatari government, the Chinese government. Like his latest deal he's working on is like $10 billion. So like he's just explaining like wealth at a level that like people don't really even think.
Right.
They can't even fathom. Like whatever you dream about wealth, like this is 10 times, like 100 times further than that. So that was a pretty interesting one. And he actually was also a big reason I got my confidence back. He like sat with us after the podcast and me specifically and was like, kid, like, bro, you got it all. You got the charisma, this, that, the look, you know how to ask like you're good. Like fucking be more confident, you know? No. As I'm like doing everything else. So that one was like more special to me than anything. For sure. But I'd say PBD just from a communication standpoint, the guy's communication skills are like primo. Yeah. And then OD just as like a very like sentimental one. It had a lot of like, meaning for me. For sure. So those two.
I think it's even nice that, even with OD, like maybe he's not a big name that everybody knows, but sometimes it's not always about the name or the guy. It's even just the guest and what they bring and their lifestyle. Because a lot of guys at that level are more low key, right?
Oh, all of them are.
100%. So because they don't feel like they have anything to prove of a fancy lifestyle.
Yes.
So it's like those are more respectable because in each pod you learn something different. Correct. But it brings value in different sense. And like PBD, like everyone obviously like of course he's it. Even the way he talks, the way he enunciates, the way he puts sentences together, like
incredible.
It's without like, how do you just sit there and not be like, oh shit, like what do I even say now? Like I feel like it's intimidating sometimes.
He's talking to you from like it's weird because he talks to you like he was speaking to us like from a position of authority. Yeah. But like it was like calming at the same time. Like it was like authority, but it didn't feel like aggressive. Yeah. Like I don't know, it was just so incredible. The guy is incredible and he gets better every day at it. That was a special conversation because even I have the clip up on my Instagram and he's like, you guys are going to be huge.
Like, I remember that.
You guys are growing every day. But it's up to you as long as you work hard, you stay aligned, like you're going to get to wherever you want to go. Right. And, that was cool for us too. When they sit back with us after and they say these things, it's just more stamps of approval. Like, okay, we're doing the right thing. We're doing the right thing. For sure. That was cool.
All right. That's sick. Yeah. So now you had MBH podcast. Mm-hmm. And then you hit everyone with, we're starting a network. So it's like, first, do you think you guys would have been able to launch that network if you were still under Nelk? Or you think that was a blessing that like, because you signed off, it gave you the ability to be like, okay, what are we going to do to bring us to the next level? Yeah, no, I definitely don't think that would have been a part of the plan had we stayed with them or even signed elsewhere. Like we were chatting with Valuetainment to potentially go with PBD and bring the show there. But again, a lot of people would have just done that deal just to do it. Right. We were like, nah, we're going to bet on ourselves. And so, the network was kind of an idea that I actually had 2.5 years ago, but it was just too early. Right. It was just too early. And like, we weren't big enough and we didn't know enough about the space yet. So I had the idea, but as soon as we left the Nelk deal, we understood like massive sponsorships, really monetizing the show, all these different things, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, I think if we could bring everything we've learned about monetizing and taking a show to the next level, like to a bunch of different shows. Okay, if we're making X amount of dollars, if we're taking X amount of percentage from X amount of dollars, like this is how we double, triple, quadruple, 10X our business. Yeah. And then at the same time, I'm looking at like what Barstool's doing, Valuetainment signing new talent, Call Her Daddy with Unwell Network, she's signing talent. So I go like, traditional media is dying slowly 100%. And these traditional media outlets are going to look to the independent media outlets and want to acquire them because they speak to the youth. They're speaking to the up and coming generation. So kids aren't watching Channel 24 or CB24 anymore, right? Yeah. They're watching their favorite podcast or favorite creator. So if we can build a hub of 30, 40, 50, 60 creators and shows and talents, why wouldn't a massive network come and say, it's going to take us too long to build this organically. We just want to buy you. Yeah. And that was really the play. I was like, okay, how can we build something now that we can exit from? Yeah. And that's really what MBH TV is. It's our exit plan. Yeah. We done the podcast. We grow it. We know how to grow it. It makes great money. We make a living off of it. Now we've taken that money and invested it in new talents and things like that. But we need an exit plan. Right. Monthly recurring revenue is great. Yeah. But if I'm saying like I want to be a billionaire or I want to at least have $100 million to my name, I need an exit. That's the way you get a real fat check, 100%, yeah. And so, that's the high level. That's pretty much the reason why we started MBH TV. All right, that's sick. Well, it's doing well. Like your views are smashing. Yeah, we're growing. We're growing. Yeah, the Instagram views are great. The network did
in 2024 across all talents and their personal brands, as well as the shows. We did over 1 billion views across all platforms.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And
it's like,
still like pretty new, like as a network.
we're
like,
only in year 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're only like October or November of 2024 was like officially 1 year. So we are like only a couple months into year 2. We're like a year and 3-4 months old.
Wow.
3 months, I think. So
wow, that's big milestones though.
yeah,
You guys are
yeah.
crushing
So
it.
we're growing. Yeah, it's growing. And again, we just kind of know the recipe. So
Right.
now it's just a matter of continuing that.
For sure. And then in MBH TV, you guys also have a bunch of different podcasts
Yeah.
that are under like your belt kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what was the thought process behind, okay, so we're going to have the news outlet and the network, but you know what? All like these podcasts right now, like some of them were already filming out of like your old headquarters and like you had connections with them. So what was the thought behind bringing them together in one space, powering them, giving them the tools they need to obviously like bring you the audience, but like also supporting them?
Yeah, for sure. So the idea was, again, if we can be supportive and own our piece of a show that has a demographic that our show doesn't have,
Right.
the network becomes more valuable. Because as an advertiser comes to us and says, hey, we have these marketing dollars and we need this type of audience, we say, perfect. Oh, this show, and this show has that audience. So we can sprinkle that advertising, those advertising dollars towards these shows. Oh, you guys are looking for this, and this? Beautiful. We go there. So we haven't really niched it in. It's just more like, hey, if we fuck with the show, we fuck with the talent, and we see that they have potential, we'll invest in it, because it's like, okay, that's a female audience between 18 and 35 who likes this, and this. Okay, great. That's a male audience between 30 and 45. They like this, boom. Yeah. So now we're building and we're putting our hands into all these different audiences. So like I said, maybe one day SiriusXM comes, SiriusXM just gave Alex Cooper $135 million deal. Wow. And it's non-exclusive, meaning that they literally paid her just to have her show airing on SiriusXM, but she can have it still on YouTube, still on Spotify, all these different things. So that for us was again, another like stamp of approval. Like, okay, they want to get into this business and they don't know how. So they're just throwing dollars around, right? But if I could go to SiriusXM and say, hey, you just spent $135 million on Alex Cooper, non-exclusive deal. Yeah. Give me 50. Yeah. Here's 30 shows that are all crushing all these different audiences, and take them, by the way. Completely exclusive. You own them. Yeah.
That'd be huge.
Now,
they can't say no.
A company like that, for example, the way they operate is they have $50 to $100 million of advertising deals every year. Yeah. They got to take that and they have to sprinkle that into different shows. For sure. Right? So again, but radio is dead. Yeah. Literally. So now they're realizing like, oh, podcasts, and this is like the upcoming thing. Like this is where the world's headed. Not the fucking news, not radio, not this. So yeah, we should go acquire 50 shows that we can funnel all of these marketing dollars into, and we're fucking grooving. Now we can give our advertisers options. You want a female audience between this and this from this demographic, boom. You want a male audience here, blah, blah, blah. And so we're basically just building this this conglomerate of shows that we can go to somebody bigger, or they can come to us and say, we want this. And we can say, hey, write the check. Yeah. Write us the fucking $50, $100 million check. It's yours. And see you later. And Ernesto and I are 50-50 on everything. So, we get 50 mil. You might never see me again online.
Literally, it's like, ciao.
Yeah, no. But so anyways, that's like high level from the business aspect. But then I'd say more from the content itself. Like we just want to have a network where any show that we fuck with can come on and say anything they want. Yeah. Same way as like we've operated our podcast. Like say whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. There's no like, we're not super corporate. We're not like, oh, you can't say it, literally anything. I don't care. Yeah. As long as it's your beliefs, it's true to you, say it. Yeah.
Which also stems from you guys as leaders too, right? Because it's like you take your values, what you believe in, you trickle it down. Yeah. Not hypocritical where it's like, we're going to say whatever we want, but don't talk about this. And your pod, like Matt's real estate. Okay, you only talk about real estate, don't talk about anything else, So it's like, you let them the freedom and people will respect that because they want freedom. Especially now, like we were talking about this a bit off camera, everybody has a podcast. Yeah. Like everyone has a podcast, right? Yeah, they do. So I think it's like funneling out, who has a pod that has direction, who has a pod that has a goal or a focus. And like you were explaining to me, you guys kind of started to as business tactics, get the leads in, this and that. Whereas now I feel some people may be doing that, but a lot of people are also doing it just to say they have a podcast, because a lot of famous people are preaching, have a podcast, it makes you credible. Yeah. And it's like, it does, but not like, I don't know. I just feel like it depends, like not only what you're talking about, but like your direction of it, right?
Have a purpose when you start a
100%,
podcast. That's simple.
100%.
Like again, I think for anybody who does not have an audience, but is a professional in their industry, a podcast is a great way to increase legitimacy.
Yeah.
And also push leads to your business.
Yeah.
Because it gives you a way to speak about anything specific to your industry. You can go for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then chop up all those clips. You have a ton of social media content for months and months and months. But now it's an easy way to position yourself as a professional in that industry.
100%.
So I'm all for starting a podcast. I know it's a saturated space,
Yeah.
but I'd say start it first with purpose before being like, this needs to make me $1 trillion before or I'm quitting in 10 episodes, you know?
Yeah. No, 100%. It's staying consistent because not every episode will go viral. And I think it's also too that like nowadays, especially as an entrepreneur, I believe you gain a lot more business from your personal brand than the business itself, like pitching itself, right? So you have your personal brands online. Okay, now you have a podcast somewhere else for people to go and understand who you are, what you believe and what you stand for.
Yes.
So now you're slowly building that respect. They feel like they already know you before they met you.
Yes.
So now they meet you and it's not like, hey, tell me about yourself. It's like, oh, I watched your pod. You talked about this. There's a connection.
Yeah.
Now they respect you. They're going to respect your work, right? So it just leads into each other. And that's why I think now too, everyone's pushing personal brand.
Yeah.
Not because it's a thing to do, but it's because you need to not prove yourself, but show yourself for people to feel that connection with you. I always tell people like, I should be able to go on your socials and like, let's say you're a business owner, I should be able to go on your socials and understand who you are, whether you value family or your business or you work hard, you go to the gym, whatever. Now I feel like I can talk to you. So like if I come to your office, sure, we'll talk about business, but it's like, oh, you went to Blue Mountain this weekend. How was it? You know,
I know you as a person now.
Right. So I think it's huge.
Yeah.
But, you know, as someone with a personal brand and like you and Ernesto have had strong brands and they continue to grow, even as you're becoming successful, it's not like you're stopping because now you have a certain level of success.
No.
Like, where do you value the importance of that and like keeping that brand up high and like keep pushing?
It's literally the reason that we've done anything we've done.
Yeah.
Like everything has come through the person. Like Neighborhood, we've never done a single paid ad to promote to get a client.
Yeah.
It's always been between myself and Ernesto's personal brand. Money Buys Happiness was promoted via our personal brands.
Yeah.
The network, same thing. Every business deal we've ever done has come through our personal brands.
Yeah.
So it's like people want to be like, oh, I don't need to be on social media. No, you're stupid. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Like, it's 2025. Someone wants to know about you, they're going to go to your Instagram and try to see if they can
100%.
figure you out before they sit down with you, right? One good reel can literally set you up.
Yeah.
Like one good reel can set you up with 20 good leads. You know what I mean? For whatever your business is. So like, I don't have a choice. It's literally how I grow my business. I grow all my businesses via my personal brand.
Yeah.
It's that straightforward. Obviously paid ads work and all these things work and people do their thing and there's whizzes when it comes to building funnels and this and that. I'm not that guy. I'm the kind of guy that goes on the Instagram, goes on the story, puts my fucking face in front of the camera, says a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
You know, posts reels, does the whole thing, and that's how I grow my businesses. So the importance is it's the priority. It's number one. Like I have no choice. You know what I mean? But I don't want to say that in a negative way. Like I have no choice. I love doing it, but I've seen the success of it. That's why I continue to put so much emphasis on my personal brand.
For sure. And I think most successful people, you can search them up. You already know about them. Like their pages are set up in a way where they're authentic, they're true, and it's just them. Their day-to-days, you know, boosting the stories. It's one thing to post a reel. That's great, but can you get on your story and can you be you? There's a difference.
Yes.
Everyone's like, I'm posting 10 times a day. I'm like, all right, have you ever jumped on and be like, hey guys, what's up? Like happy Wednesday. Like, you know, what's going on? Or I'm going to the gym or did you hear the news about whatever? Like that's where you make the connection.
Correct.
They're going to see your lifestyle and your reels. They're going to see your opinions and your thoughts. That's easy. But can you show your face, right? And I think that's also a big difference. And even just, you know, Wealth Club, that community you guys built, a big reason I signed up is because I had followed you. I followed Ernesto. I follow Nick. I follow Matt. So you guys are all posting.
Nice.
And I'm like, yo, I got to join. I'm stupid if I don't, just because
Yeah.
these guys are all putting their knowledge in one spot. But that comes from personal brand and rep, right?
Of course.
So
of course.
that is huge. Like even just Wealth Club, like was that like you guys came together and were like, you know, we want to give back, give a space.
Literally that. We're just like, hey, like all of us get hit up all the time for questions.
Right.
And I don't want to put it out of the question, but I've never been the guy to like try to, charge people $5,000 for my fucking course or $1,000 an hour to talk to me. And maybe I will one day. I don't know. But I was kind of just like, dude, instead of me like trying to like answer every single DM, like, bro, let's make a paid community because we're all getting the same type of DMs, similar ones. Yeah. Let's make a paid community. Let's make it a fucking $1 a day, like super fucking cheap. So it's like everyone knows we're not price gouging. We're not really trying to make a living off of this group. Yeah. We're more of just like, hey, let's make it affordable and just make sure we can cover our operating costs via creating via the $1 a day. And that was that. And then, I mean, you kind of see what goes on in there. It's just like conversations, people posting their wins, things like that. Like people asking questions. I answer DMs in there all the time. We do the meetups, which are really cool. I love connecting with the community in person. Like we've done the cold tubs, we've done the workouts, stuff like that. And we have bigger plans for it this year to continue growing it and just kind of, doing more in-person stuff, because the online stuff is great. Yeah. But I love the in-person connection. I love the in-person connection. So we're kind of just saying, hey, let's create some sort of like more like we're doing them, but even more like exclusive in-person meetups for the community. So it's like sort of just like a way to say thank you for like joining the crew and like, yeah, let's sit down, let's talk, and let's like actually talk our shit. Let's like figure this out and like what problems you have in business. How can we help you? What would we do? Blah, blah, blah. And sort of just consult and sort of advise people and try to guide them in the right direction. Yeah, just a way to give back and give our knowledge away, because we feel like we have a decent amount of it and people are asking for it. So why not?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like speaking as like a member, obviously, like I've gotten great knowledge just from that chat, and whether it's from you guys or other people, like you build a community, you make friends, you're connecting with people obviously you never even knew existed. Yes. And now it's like, hey, all right, like let's go for a meetup. You're showing up to the events. Hey, how are you? You're texting them on the side now. Like, hey, you need this? I can market this for you. Okay, yeah. Can you restore something in my house? Like, everyone's connecting and it's so inclusive. And you guys have set it up in a way where there's so much conversation. There's just people that launch online communities just to get money out of it. Yeah. You go on, and I've joined them and it's silence. Like you can hear the crickets. And I'm like, I go, I'm in wealth. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to go back over there. Everyone's talking. Okay. Yeah, it's crazy.
I haven't really tapped in any of them, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So like I'm thinking, well, not thinking, I am launching like my own community with like one of my other business partners. Nice. But it'll be fully just like marketing focused, because we had that same thing where we both have an agency. Everyone's asking us the same questions. Like just sign up. It's going to be free at first. Like we're just going to give you everything basically, right?
Hell yeah.
But
that's the way to do it.
So then I was like doing my research. I'm like, okay, I'm in Wealth Club. Let me join a few other ones that I know people run and like, let me see how those are going. So I can have a comparison. Okay. And it's night and day. Like I was shocked. Yeah. Night and day. Like one of them I was in, okay, it was a free one, whatever, but like no communication. There's a leaderboard and stuff, but no one's really talking or like talking on topic or like bringing anything up. Yeah. Then there's another one I'm in where it's literally silence, but it's like you're in it, but it's like no one's talking in it. Yeah. So I'm tripping out because I'm like, okay, so these guys are doing something that is making everyone feel welcome and safe to speak.
It's a play.
Right. And a lot of it is the in-person events. Yes. Where it's like not only you guys are putting yourselves as like, oh, we're coaches and this is our thing. No, we're at in-person events. We're with you guys. We can talk to you, come up to you, feel comfortable. Some people start these communities and take this position of authority. And it's like, I know my shit. Here's the knowledge. But like, if you want the next level, you got to pay me like 10 grand, you know? Yeah. And then it's like, you can't just DM them or you can't just ask them or you're nervous to, where it's you guys. It's like, even just I asked you to come on the pod. Yeah. You're here. I was just going to say like, but I said this to Nick too. Like when I was at Spark, I'm like, Nick, like you used to run Liberty Grand events and like I used to go and then I used to think like I'm never going to talk to Nick in my life. Yeah. I'm sitting with 6 of us from Wealth Club in this room and you know my name, you know?
How cool is that?
That's crazy.
I know, it's
so like,
sweet.
It's nice to see that giving back aspect because that'll come back to you in tenfold. All day,
Sure. You know? But we do it just because we love it. It's not even about when it's going to come back, how it's going to come back. We're just like, we just love doing this shit. Like we just love connecting with people on that level because it's like, a lot of people are earlier on in their journey than we are. For sure. And so if there's any knowledge that we can give to them to skip some steps and just don't have to make the mistakes that we made that were either costly from a life standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, or from like a monetary standpoint, like why not do that? Yeah, for sure. And so that's really been the driving factor of it. Like I said, $1 a day, like I'm not getting rich off that. You know what I mean? Like believe me. And there's a few of us involved. So it's not like none of us are like walking away with millions of dollars every month, you know? Yeah. So it's good, but we're excited about it. It's slowly growing. It's not like it's super organic. We don't go crazy with it. We just want to make sure that every person in there, we have enough energy to give to them.
For sure.
Right. So that's why we're not like hyper focused on grow it to 1 trillion followers and And we're like, yeah, let it grow as it grows. People will like it and people will kind of join as they hear more and more word of mouth. And we're just letting it be super organic.
Yeah. Which you're doing a great job so far.
Thank you. Thank you.
So in all your success in entrepreneurship, what's something you say you've done or instilled that's also helped keep you humble and not complacent as to where you are? So like you have the mindset, which we can see, but is there anything else you've done? Because I think it's easy for people to feel like, all right, like we got the network, we got the pod, like money's coming in, it's great. We have our exit plan, like, you know, like we're doing it. But like, how do you still stay humble in those moments? And it's like, no, we got to keep going, man. Like even if we have an exit plan, like what are we doing after? Like keep pushing yourself.
Yeah, it's the added, you got to add pressure. You got to continuously add pressure to yourself so that you don't become complacent, you know? So it's, and you know, that can be in the form of anything. That can be in the form of like maybe hiring an employee that you don't necessarily need today, but you know that your next like step of growth, you're going to need them. So now it's like forcing you to like get to that next stage so that the employee that you're paying their salary every fucking month is like worth it. Yeah. You know, that's more of like a business side. If it's like a personal thing, it's like, yeah, sometimes I'll upgrade. I upgraded my car. Yeah. Okay. That's extra money. Yeah. I got to make more money. Yeah. Just little things like that, but it's strategic. It's not like go out and blow every dollar you have, start from zero again. Yeah. But it's like add on these little expenses and these little things to your business and your lifestyle that force you to have to make more money. Yeah. And it's pretty much that simple. And then on the other side of it, like now from like the humble perspective, like, so that's stuff that I do to be motivated to keep growing the business. From the humble side of it and that whole thing is like, my girlfriend, she keeps me super humble. Yeah. Like, she's like, you're crushing, babe. Like you're doing your thing, but like you are nowhere near who you can be, you know? And then I'm like, yeah, fuck, I'm actually not that sick. True. You know what I mean? Like in a good way. Yeah. She obviously says you're sick, but like, she's like, you could be sicker, bro. I'm like, yeah, okay, fair. So she keeps me motivated in that sense. And I think the final thing is just family. Like, again, like, I took my nonna on a yacht in Miami for New Year's Eve.
Oh, I saw you guys post that.
Yeah, I took nonna, grandmother, for anybody who's not Italian listening to this. And I took my grandmother on a yacht in Miami for New Year's Eve. And it's things like that I want to continuously be able to do. And the reason being is like, I saw her face and how excited she was to be there. And it looked like she turns 80 this year. It looks like her like inner child came out because she's like, I come from this little town like in the mountains of Italy. Yeah. And like, holy fuck, I'm on this like 80-foot yacht in the middle of Miami on New Year's Eve, like with my family. Like, I don't think I would have ever imagined as a little girl that I would be doing this. Sure. And so I was able to give her a life experience that like not many people can give even for themselves, let alone their grandparents who come from like my grandmother comes from like World War II type shit. She was born like the year after World War II. Like, so it's like, you know what I mean? For the first 75 years of her life, she probably never even thought ever that she'd be in that position, you know? And so little things like that. I have a dream to like take her and my mom, my dad on a private jet. I never done that before. I'd never been on one, you know? Yeah. So that was actually my first yacht in Miami that I've been on. Wow. So I did that on purpose. I made it that way. Like, I'm not going on this fucking yacht until I can bring everybody.
I love that.
I'm not going on this fucking PJ until I can bring everybody. Yeah. And so it's those things those little goals I have set for myself that also just push me like, fuck, you got to keep going, buddy. Like, you ain't shit. Until you can do this, you ain't shit, you know? And so just try to like set these big goals, but like along the way to like keep myself motivated as well.
For sure. And that goes back to remembering your roots too. Who is there for you? Correct. Which is your family, your girlfriend. Like, that's what matters.
Absolutely.
What would you say is like in all your entrepreneurial ventures, like what's one piece of advice you'd take or that you've learned, one thing you've learned an advice you'd give to someone starting their career in entrepreneurship?
A lot of things. But I would say the most important thing for me was no one's going to believe in you until you believe in yourself. And so if you have a vision for a business or a company that you want to start, a brand, like, don't go ask for validation. Like, you believing that it can be, hyper successful is enough validation. Don't look at your family, don't look at your friends to validate your ideas, because they never will. Because 9 times out of 10, they don't see that for themselves. So how could they validate it for you? Right? I walk around saying I want to be a billionaire. The average person is going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because they can't picture themselves in those shoes. Right. So don't look for validation from anybody. As long as you truly believe in your vision, that's enough validation. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. So then let's say, what's next for you? So you got your pod, you got your network.
Yeah.
We know you have an exit plan with the network.
Yeah.
But like, what's next for Anthony? Like, what's on your mind?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things. Obviously, we're going to continue to grow the businesses. We're in a position where I'm considering raising some capital for the network. Again, I was a part of that. I was in that mindset middle of 2024. I kind of put that to the side. So that's definitely a big piece. We're going to continue to bring on some big talent. We have some really, really interesting conversations happening right now with some impressive people that, I would be amazed and honored to have under the network. So that's going to be pretty cool. And I think for myself, specifically me, I'm like, I have a target of 100,000 followers by the end of the year. I think I can get there personally. Organic, real followers, by the way. And I'd like to do some more like speaking stuff. Yeah. Not like big stage, 1,000 people, like more like intimate stuff. I mean, we're actually gonna be doing some of it with the Wealth Club here, which I'm sure you're gonna hear about shortly. But yeah, more intimate, like 20, 30 people, just sort of like doing workshops for like business and things like that. I'd love to do more of that. I think that's going to be something that's going to bring a lot of joy to my life. Sure. This year is, I have I had some like very like tough conversations with like the people around me at the end of the year, just about like myself and who I was in 2024 and mistakes that I made and things that I thought I could be better at. But then also holding the people I love accountable. So there were some really like tough emotional conversations that I had with a few people. And after having all those conversations and shedding some tears and like reflecting on the year that just passed, the one thing I said to myself was, and I say this to myself now every single morning, I will not end 2025 where I started. And that is what's driving me this year. I will not end 2025 where I started. And that's in every aspect. That's in my business. That's in my relationships. That's in my health and wellness. It's everything. So all of my main pillars of my life, I am going to 10X where I started. So where I am in January is not going to be where I am in December. Like I'm going to be able to look back on like my health and wellness, my business, my relationships, all these things and be like, yeah, I'm in a completely different place and it's for the better. Yeah. So I would say high level, those are all the things. But yeah, I definitely want to, and like anyone watching this, please hit me up. We're going to be doing a lot of like cool stuff, even with Neighborhood. We're about to launch like a thing called Inside the Studio, which is going to be like a very intimate, like 20 person, like workshop. The first one's going to be for personal brand actually. So it's pretty cool. All these cool things we're going to be doing. I'm going to be speaking at with a couple like really heavy hitters. So stuff like that.
That's super sick.
I know that's a lot of stuff. Actually, I just rambled there, but that's a lot of stuff.
No, but that's good though. That's good. And a lot of it is giving back too, which you want to do more of, right? And I think just naturally as humans, we're built to feel more fulfilled when we do give back.
Correct.
Instead of just being selfish and like keeping success to yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And then as we get to the end of the pod, big question.
Yeah.
Does money buy happiness?
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, look, like I've asked that question 300 times to people from all walks of life. And, I've taken a little bits of pieces from each person's journey and I kind of understood why they said what they said. But if someone were to ask me why money buys happiness or does money buy happiness, let me frame that again because we could use it for a clip. If someone was to ask me, does money buy happiness? The answer is absolutely yes. And the reason I say that is because, I mean, it's a two-pronged approach, I think. It's how you make the money. So if you're doing something you love, the way you make the money, it's going to make you happy, right? And the second side of it is what you do with the money. Mm-hmm. So I make the money and I enjoy the way I make it. And then I use the money and I'm doing good with it. I'm going to be happy. So yeah, money, that money is bringing me happiness straight up, right? So I love what I do. I love my team. I love the way that we all work together and bring money in and we don't scam people. We help businesses. We grow things. Of course, I'm happy when the dollars come in, when I see millions and millions of dollars coming in. On the flip side of it, what I do with the money, I put my team on. I give them constant raises. I put my family on payroll. I do all these things. I bet my nonna on a fucking yacht. You know, like, look, I got no fancy watches.
Yeah.
Me and Ernesto, we got the fucking gold portion of it for free. And we paid for the diamonds. Like, I'm cheap as fuck, bro. Like, I keep my shit. I don't spend I give my money to people, right? I'm growing my empire. Like, so of course I'm happy when I get to spend it on my team. I'm happy when I see my fucking, my employees going on a trip with their girlfriend or boyfriend and they're doing this and they're going to a nice dinner. Like, I get amped. That makes me happy because I know that that's off the back of like me and what I built.
Yeah.
So money buys happiness, 100%. Anyone tells you that it doesn't, they're lying to you. Or they just never made enough.
That's a big one too, right? Because I feel like people that say it doesn't, it's because they don't have it, right?
Yeah,
so they're in a struggle mindset. So
yeah, but
like,
yet the thing is, if they got a check for $1 million, that would clear all their problems, they'd be happy.
Until they use the $1 million.
Well, the wrong way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You know? But yeah, well, that's huge. I do agree with that. To a certain point, like I do think happiness is internal, but I think a lot of what stems that is from what you have. You know, you don't have to worry about bill payments. That makes people unhappy. You don't have to worry about, you know, you want to retire your mom, but she's still working. It's unhappy. Like money is the factor to those things. And I think people that, you know, those people say money's the root of all evil. And it's like, well, that's your belief. So one, you're probably never going to get money because that's the shit you're putting out. Right. And two, it's like how you use it. It's a piece of paper. Like what you do with it, it's on you. Right. So I think that's a big thing. And, you know, your perspective on it, it's up to you and it's people's opinion. But I respect that. So thank you for coming on the pod.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
Thank you for letting me use this space. Grizz Studio, guys.
Yes.
Absolutely unreal. Check it out on Instagram. The space is phenomenal. Not only for a pod, just for any content if you're in that space. Like, follow, subscribe, do your thing. Anthony, to more pods hopefully in the future.
100%.
And thank you.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.